Alright.
Are we live?
We're live.
We're live. Do it live.
So, thanks for joining me again. We finally can meet up and get around to it through sicknesses and past minor setbacks we've had. We're back to talk about and finish this analysis here.
It's my genuine pleasure. And yeah, I got my throat kind of got fucked up, so we had to delay this. So I'm sorry again, Johnny.
No, you're totally good, man.
I'm a waste.
No, get out of here. Let's talk about the real waste here.
Oh, nice segue. Holy shit.
Is the Star Wars sequel trilogy. That's all I have to say.
Oh god. Okay. So last time we broke off pretty much right at we talked about Last Jedi, and we went a little bit into Rise of Skywalker, kind of our initial thoughts and reactions, but didn't cover that much, right? So
right.
I guess we can kind of. What do you think? Do you want to kind of start with kind of how we did the last two movies and talk a little bit about the build-up and like the hype, you know?
Yeah,
and, like,
absolutely.
The feelings beforehand, because you know, with me, like I was like. I fluctuated a lot, you know. I was like, you know, I was a little bit hyped, but it's like they would like release a trailer or a piece of information, and I would be like, maybe this is gonna be good, but then immediately, like once I thought about it, I'd be like, no, I don't know about this. Palpatine, like when that was revealed, I was like, oh my god, like, because I love Palpatine, I love the Emperor.
Oh shit! Hold on, I lost you for a second. Oh, can you hear me? Hello? Oh, Ben?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay, sweet. I'm sorry. Yeah, I could hear you. I guess I dropped out for a second.
Yeah, that's weird. It said that we were still connected. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. It's probably on me, but no, yeah, I was just saying that like with her being revealed to be turned right out the gate, I was initially pretty hyped because I love the Emperor.
Yeah.
A lot, but once I thought about it, I was like, I don't think this is gonna work. I have a really bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What were your kind of thoughts on that?
Well, I had found my way onto like leaks a long time ago. I would say like over 9 months ago at least. I remember, like maybe even sometime. I think it was like March or April. Really was starting to dive into trying to find leaks for that movie, because what happened was just like so many stupid rumors in the meantime. Like, and I think one of the early rumors was that Palpatine was coming back, and I was like, really? So it gave me so much time to think about it, and I'm like, honestly, I don't think this is something that we should do. I don't. It felt like a cheap thing, and also if you're not talking, you're really quiet, and if you are talking, I can't hear you at all. Damn, I thought my internet was okay tonight. I need to get a new router. That's my issue. Oh, wait, he's not in the voice chat. Oh, it looks like he went offline for a minute. We'll keep it going, see what's going on. Meantime, we did find some interesting concept art for the Rise of Skywalker, of what I guess could have been here. That's Chewie actually getting interrogated. Interesting. I think this comes from the art.
Hey, John.
Oh, you back?
Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I don't know what the heck happened. I guess I'm having connection problems, so if I drop out again, I'm very sorry.
No, you're good. Did you go completely offline for a minute?
Yeah, I totally did.
Oh wow, was it forceful or not your? It was on accident.
It was on accident. I think I don't know if I'm having connection issues or what. Damn. My laptop's kind of shitty, so.
Oh, no problem.
But I'll try to force bond and heal the connection. I'll put my life force into it, and maybe that'll save it.
You're
Oh
good.
boy.
I don't
Spoiler
know.
alert.
I didn't know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you were able to hear what I said about the Emperor, but
No, I basically you cut out right when you started your thought.
damn.
You like sighed and you're like basically, and then it cut out.
All right,
So
all right.
if you have to repeat anything, I'm sorry,
No,
James.
no.
I'm sorry.
It's a quick one. It's honestly, I'll summarize it in like a second. Just that I was following. I didn't know how to feel about this movie, and I think early on, because of the fact that I watched so much like bullshit and hate towards the Last Jedi, it started
Yeah.
warping my opinion of it, and I was like, hmm. And then I I,
I know.
I got to the point of where like I liked it, I hated it. I loved it. I hated it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think I've said this already in the last review, but it caused me to not really give a shit anymore about this so-called trilogy. So
Yeah.
I started looking for leaks early on because I was like, where the fuck are they possibly thinking of going now? Because they fucked this up.
Yeah. For
And
sure. For sure.
and it's funny because another thing I wanted to talk about that I didn't get to mention is the Colin Trevorrow leak.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be a whole thing, huh?
Now,
Because
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, at least that followed The Last Jedi, and when I read it, I'm like, huh, that is kind of where I would have thought the story needed to go. And I'm like,
yes.
and that's the one thing I was hoping, but then at the same time, I'm like, that's predictable. But then, it was like March or April, I was saying, and when you cut out, I think I found out about the leak about Palpatine possibly being in it, and I was like, that's literally the fakest like shit I've ever heard to just get like clickbait, but
Yeah.
it made me think. So like when it actually was revealed, it wasn't a shock to me because like for a long time I heard that was a possible rumor, and I'm like,
Gotcha.
yeah, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
And then they revealed it. Oh my god.
Yeah, that didn't shock. And then that's the thing. The entire movie for me, like if anyone wants to dodge out of the video, I can say it and summarize it in like one sentence.
Yeah.
Is underwhelming. I just was like,
Oh no.
none of it impressed me. Like when I saw the trailers, I was just like, they're just pulling from nostalgia, and
Oh no.
oh, it's just like a cheap thing. Like I would have guessed. It just all didn't get me. And then
Yeah.
that's how I felt when I left the movie. I felt like it was just a meh experience. Like I liked it,
Yeah.
like I love it. I'm like, wow, it's probably the most Star Wars film, but it's just it didn't.
Right.
It, it worked on its own as like a fan fiction to me. That's,
Yeah, and that's really what it played out as is a fan fiction for me.
yeah.
And because yeah, I mean, think about all the plot points. It's like something you would literally read in fanfic. Let's make Rey a Palpatine. Let's make her be all the Jedi, and let's make Palpatine be all the Sith. Let's make Rey and Kylo Ren kiss. Let's bring
Please
Han
don't read those.
Solo in as not a Force ghost, but like he's there anyway because it doesn't matter. Make Luke catch the lightsaber and then raise the X-wing like everyone wanted him to do. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm totally with you there.
That's my main issue with the whole thing is just that the tones are so inconsistent um the story really is just inconsistent, unfortunately. But
Yeah,
it's I'm just trying to get all this shit out of the way first because it's like these are the things that I can't really forget that make me realize, okay, wait, I've seen all these other films like at least 3 times in the first couple weeks that the movie was out, and this film I've had no desire to see more than twice. I've seen it twice and I'm like, I'm good, I'll wait till Blu-ray.
yeah, dude. I've only seen it once, and like,
See, and you don't
it's
care to
funny
see it again, do you?
no, not even a bit. I mean, I'll check it out when it comes on Blu-ray, just
Right.
for the fun of it and just to have it all, But yeah, dude, Force Awakens I saw 5 times in the theater.
Yeah, that was good.
Last Jedi I saw 4 times in the theater. Because kind of like you, I kept waffling on it. I was
Yes.
like, "What the hell is this movie?"
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
but this one, yeah, it's kind of like a one and done for now. I do want to see it again, but if I don't see it again until Blu-ray, I'm not gonna be heartbroken by any means.
Right.
Because yeah, that's the thing. The initial kind of reaction, like, I guess I'll kind of go off of. I'll kind of do a combo of things. So like from the opening crawl, right? Like I'm sitting in the theater. I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna try to like surrender myself to this movie as best I can. Like, just see what they're trying to do, see how they wrap it all up, and like whatever happens, happens, right?
Yeah, yeah, same.
And then the opening crawl happens.
Oh
but
boy.
like, maybe this was a good thing because
The dead speak.
the first line is the dead speak, and there was like a mysterious broadcast that's claimed that it was Palpatine, and he's like saying, "I've returned, motherfuckers."
Which timeout to
And
interject.
yes,
Why is he just like saying, "Hey everybody, I'm back"? Like,
I don't know, dude. And you know what? It wasn't until after the fact that I learned that fucking like broadcast was a Fortnite crossover. Did you know about this? You knew about this. I didn't until after the fact, and I'm like,
no, me
wow. If that doesn't like, because if it was like a Fortnite event where if you log in at a certain time and they're like playing,
Christ.
it's actually Ian McDermott saying the broadcast. He's like, "Long have I waited,"
Oh my God.
blah blah blah, and I'm like, wow, we're doing it. We're doing Fortnite cross actual Star Wars canon.
Okay, since that's a point that we're making already early on, I need to bring in the fact that a major problem I had with this trilogy was trying to put plot points that are necessary to tell in the movies in ancillary material, and I'm like, what?
Which you should never do.
The
you should
fuck?
never do.
Yeah, you can't do DLC for movies, you idiots. You make a good fucking film, and you don't do it wrong.
I know. I mean, and it's like, it's weird, because like, yeah, the original trilogy and the prequels, they do have, ancillary material that's extra, but you don't need it to enjoy the,
They're supplemental.
Yeah, you don't absolutely need it. It's like, it's icing, right? Like the movies are the cake.
Yes.
And the extra stuff is just the icing, right?
Yes.
With this, it's like the opposite. It's like, all the good stuff is in the extra like, do you know about this? Do you know about this Rise of Kylo Ren comic?
Yeah,
that's apparently it's phenomenal, and that's where all the good story shit is.
I know.
And it's like none of that's in the fucking movie.
Dude, a couple people
blows
just
my mind. It's like, god damn.
I know. Sorry. Well, no, don't be sorry. I keep interjecting too. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to, continue with you.
No. I love hearing you talk.
Oh, that's baby.
Please keep talking.
It's just like, it's true. Like, I knew about the Fortnite event because my friend at work, Nate, shout out to Nate if he's even watching, said, "Hey, dude, they're doing a Fortnite event tonight," and he showed me, like the next day on some social media, like, hey, here's what happened, and like you can get these skins.
Oh fuck! So you were there. You heard the broadcast or whatever.
No, I did not. That's the thing. I didn't know anything about it, and I'm not sure if he knew about it either. I think he just knew that he just watched the footage of people on Twitch, like clipping like certain parts of the stream that had them getting like the stormtrooper armor, lightsabers, and watching like the TIE fighters and Millennium Falcons and shit like battle and then land and whatnot, but nothing about the broadcast. And if there was something mentioned of the broadcast, I refused to watch it, I think, because I was just like, whatever. But the fact that I didn't realize that was a thing, and the fact that that is a thing now, it's like, okay, now I'm really mad because you assholes had so much material to pull from the EU that you decided to like half-ass grab at to make these like, second-hand characters of Jason and God, I'm blanking on her name. I keep doing that.
Jaina.
Jaina, thank you.
I think it's Jaina.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Jason and Jaina, like. But you're not gonna pull from like Plagueis, which is the biggest thing of what if I could have done this trilogy, I was gonna say is like Snoke should have been Plagueis, or at least like we should, or if we were to kill him off in this movie, just like Colin Trevorrow's script, he should have found Plagueis, and then that have been an issue, and then Rey and him team up, and then boom, we have a fucking Grey Order, and it makes sense, and then the ultimate evil's killed, and like I don't know, whatever. But
yeah, no, for sure. I think I was pretty hyped for the Snoke is Plagueis kind of theory.
Same.
Because that really would have like tied everything over. together, in a
Yeah.
special way, right? And it's like, I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I have my own ideas of, like you said, how we would have done it, blah blah blah. If you and I were canon masters, if we were in charge of the new trilogy, kind of
Yes.
thing. Um,
Yes.
that stuff can come later, but
That's later in the stream. Later in the stream.
yeah, it's all good.
You're right.
But
You're right.
no, you're good. You're good. But for now, though, like, given what we got, um, which is, oh man, okay, let me try to gather my thoughts here, because
What?
okay, so that's what I was saying. So again, from the first line, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Going back to the crawl. So I sitting in the movie theater, I was like, again, I was like, I'm just gonna let this do its thing. I'll try to be as objective as possible. It's fine. And then, yeah, and then the first line was was read, and I'm like, got it. I was
That's
like,
so
got
true.
it. This is what we're going for, because it's so stupid. It's so over the top. I think it really kind of helped my mindset, because from then on, I basically surrendered myself to how ridiculous the movie was, and I enjoyed it at face value, right? Like at face value, I really did kind of like have fun with it, but once we do exactly what we're doing now and we analyze it from a Star Wars perspective, it's pretty much trash. Like, it's like I've said to you and I've said to others before. It's like, it's at this point, these are just kind of extra movies, that they're not connected to the old ones. So it's
Yeah.
like that I kind of have just disconnected them in my mind, and I'm just kind of taking them at face value on their own, right? Like, and that
Yeah.
being said, like even like Last Jedi has kind of risen in my favor with that point of view, with the help that it's not really connected, and Force Awakens is evened out a little bit too. To be honest, it's just kind of like, because if that's how they build this whole thing as its own trilogy, then they massively failed.
Right.
It's like that you sent me that video. I think it was Midnight's Edge, talking about how it really fails spectacularly as a trilogy, and it really does, because there's no like thematic, material connecting any of these films. It's a baton pass, and each guy, each writer and director are they're not connecting anything to each other. They're just doing their own thing,
Yeah.
and that's really poor trilogy planning.
Yeah.
I'm getting kind of scatterbrained, but
No, you're good.
I think you kind of get it. Where, like, again, going back to sitting in the theater on the opening crawl, I was like, okay, this is all just really stupid, and I'll just enjoy whatever, because it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Right. So yeah. So that being said, those are my thoughts on the crawl kind of thing, situation. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. I.
What do you think? Were you viewing this from still like a hardcore Star Wars fan, thinking that like this could be salvaged, or were you kind of like in my boat where you're like, whatever the fuck, like, go over the top? You know what I mean?
I was in between, I guess. I read the leaks. That's the problem, and I had the whole movie spoiled for
Sure.
me. So then when the second that crawl came up, I was like, wow, this crawl is terribly vague, and then just so rushed and like horrible. It's like not even, what was it, like 2 paragraphs? Not even. It was just like garbage. I was like, this, get it out of here.
Yeah.
And then it starts off right away with the opening scene of the trailer, that one trailer, which was like a major spoiler they should have left alone.
Yeah, you're right. Quick thought about that. How I think they spoiled way too much. I
Way
think
too much.
even Palpatine being back, I feel like that would have been pretty neat if we found that out in the movie.
Yeah.
They should have done some really clever, some kind of like editing or marketing where we didn't know. I mean, I guess they kind of had to get people to see the movie after Last Jedi.
Which is unfortunate.
But, yeah, but at the same, like, go back to like the marketing for Force Awakens, where it was JJ doing his thing, where he's being as mysterious as possible
Yeah.
and not revealing anything. Whereas this one, it's like, hey, Emperor's back. Hey, we're gonna release a whole trailer where it's the whole opening scene of the movie where it's Kylo
Yeah,
meeting Emperor Palpatine. So it's just it was weird. It was really 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 weird.
I agree.
But yeah, and it's like so that opening scene. So you kind of did you realize that was from one of those trailers and you were like checked out pretty much? You're like this, you know.
Yeah, kind of.
I got you.
Yeah. Oh man, I think my cat was fucking with the HDMI cord. Hold on.
Oh no.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just looking
Hey,
at it
cat.
like, whoa, it's like super funky looking.
Oh no.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Well, I guess we'll just leave it looking trippy.
Don't get electrocuted or anything.
Oh shit! Hold on. I gotta get this cat out of here. He's gonna fuck shit up. Reggie,
No.
get out of here, you bad boy.
Yo,
He's
that's
like
what
biting
cats do.
cords and stuff and making
Oh
my
my
TV a
God.
mess. Get out of there.
Yo, that's what cats do, dog.
I know these little bastards. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I hear you just fine, dude.
I don't even want to touch it. I'm just gonna leave it alone and I'll mess with it later. No, bad
Yeah.
boy, get out of there. You can't go back there. Get out of here. You're such a bad boy. He's such a rascal.
That was like the quintessential like movie like cat sound effect too. Like,
Yeah.
what is it?
He's a little fucker.
Oh, which one is it?
That's Reggie, the big old blonde boy.
Reggie.
The
Okay.
fat chonk who likes to cause chaos.
Oh, he's chunky. He's a chunky boy.
Well, as long as you can hear me okay, my stream looks like it's on acid here, but
Yeah.
We'll
No, man,
we'll go with it.
I hear you just fine. Just force heal your HDMI cable if you have to.
I don't even know what he touched. It doesn't matter. I'll figure it out. But
It's all good. All right, so opening scene.
yeah.
We have Kylo on. This confused me. I didn't learn until after the fact that it was freaking Mustafar.
Yeah.
Which, like, what the
Same.
heck? Like, why didn't he make it look like Mustafar? I don't know.
Well, their whole thing was, I guess, that life was growing again and trees were sprouting and stuff, which is again explained in one of the comics, apparently.
Yeah. God, it's so stupid.
I know.
Always explained in the comic. So ridiculous.
I know.
It's like that might as well have been the dialogue and when all the mysteries that were afoot. They're like,
Hey, babe, can you pass me the water?
Later in the movie, when Poe's like, Palpatine returned somehow, he might as well have just looked at the freaking camera and said, Palpatine has returned. Check this out in this upcoming comic book written by Timothy Zahn or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, that's stupid. But okay, so opening scene, Kylo's wrecking dudes.
Yeah,
It's kind of neat.
fucking
Like
dope.
it's neat.
Yeah.
It's really neat because his theme's playing and he's just like going ham. So that was pretty neat. I'm like, okay, Kylo, my boy, show me what you got.
Yeah, I loved all of that.
Right, and then and the next scene. So Exegol itself is pretty neat, I think, but they could have done without all the lightning and shit. That was a bit too much.
Yeah.
It was very strobe lighty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think just like a little, like just leave it as like a weird dark ice planet. Like that's cool.
Yeah. Like I don't know. So yeah, I mean, there actually is a lot to unpack in the first scene because that's when we learn
The whole thing.
Papa Snoke's whole deal.
Yeah, which
know.
again, I still don't understand because apparently in the Kylo comics, like Luke damaged Snoke, so that's why Snoke looks like that. But then explain to me why in the Bacta tank or whatever cloning tank nonsense thing that Palpatine has, it's like damaged Snoke. So it's like, why would you be cloning damaged Snoke? I don't get it.
Yeah, exactly. Why did he always look like that? I don't get it.
Stupid.
And if you can clone such powerful dark side users that you can use as puppets, why not like A, clone yourself a whole new like freaking body, or B, like make a whole army of Snokes and just wreck the galaxy with them. You know what I mean?
And then it doesn't. This is immediately when the movie I was like, okay, if I had to write Like, if I had to write this whole idea of Palpatine coming back, what would I do? This is what I would have done. Like, I hate to say it, but I'm like, it's such a fucking stupid idea to do. Don't bring back Palpatine.
Mhm.
That motherfucker died 40 years ago. Leave him dead. Why are you bringing him back? Right? And then
Yeah.
they decide. They decide to do all the tropes to make the story match to that being the original idea. Like, it's to the T that it makes it sound like a fan fiction. That's why I have an issue with it. Because at the same time,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I love this because this is exactly what you should do if you're bringing Palpatine back. So I praise JJ for that. He nailed that. But it doesn't make a single lick of fucking sense.
No,
And
man. It
why-
really doesn't.
Why would Snoke be trying to kill Rey in those movies if it was Palpatine all along and it's his fucking granddaughter?
I know. It really does break shit. It breaks literally everything. You're right. Because it retroactively ruins the previous two films, okay, it definitely wrecks Last Jedi because he's. Well, everything about this film kind of wrecks The Last Jedi. But
Yeah, which sucks.
I guess we'll get there. So, okay, let's think about this for a sec. So, instead of... Wait a minute. Let me think. I'm so confused. This goddamn movie is broken in so many ways. Because, like...
Let's walk you through this. Let's go.
They established that he had multiple Snokes, right? Like, he had a couple of tests, and they were all, like you said, old and decrepit already.
They're all fucked up looking, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's look at this.
So, like, I don't understand why. Like, why? Like, why would he do that? Did he say why?
No.
All he said was, I made Snoke.
Yeah.
He didn't say why. Yeah, there you go. Oh, I'm checking your stream out. There you go.
Is it like blurry for you or no?
Yeah, it looks all right. I mean, it's like you know,
psychedelic. It's kind of like
yeah.
now I don't have to worry about copyright because it's all fucked up.
No, you're good, bro. You're good.
But yeah, you can kind of see in there like he doesn't look like how I would expect a nice looking clone to be. You can see like outlines of his scar on his forehead and his cheek being damaged.
Yeah, the same exact scars that that Pop Snoke Prime has. So why wasn't this? He didn't have this in the Clone Wars era or the original trilogy era, right? And if he foresaw everything, why didn't he foresee that? Like, you know what I mean? Like killing Snoke. What was the point of it all?
I think honestly, well, in my mind, it's justified that Snoke had to die in the fact that he needed to have a couple things happen. He needed Kylo to want to be his own person, one step closer to being him and his successor, or whatever he said to him in the movie.
But he didn't even want Kylo. He wanted Rey. He wanted his granddaughter.
But that had to happen.
That.
Well,
that's so stupid.
See, no, well, in my mind, I'm thinking it doesn't because it makes it so like he knows how deep of a connection he has with Rey. So having him.
But he doesn't, because remember when they get together at the end to fight him, he's like, "Oh my God, a Force dyad! This hasn't happened in 1,000 years." You remember that?
Well, maybe he didn't know they were a dyad, but maybe he just knew that they had a thing for each other. Because then
fucking Snoke told them that he's the one who bridged their minds. Remember?
Right.
So that would mean Palpatine would have to know.
Oh God, this hurts.
You see how this falls apart on itself?
Yeah. There's no justification for any of it, is there?
No, man. You know what I mean? Seriously. It's like... I mean, admittedly, I do need to watch the movie again, but I remember him being, like, surprised that they were a Force dyad.
No, you're right.
Because he was like, oh my God, I can rejuvenate my body. Which, I have another question about that. When he rejuvenated, why didn't he become, like, regular Sheev Palpatine? Why did he still have to become Monster Mash? Like he was rejuvenating himself. You know what I mean?
Well, here's my question.
We're jumping ahead. But
no, you're good.
We're on Palpatine right now.
Isn't Monster Mash Palpatine his true form, according to the internet trolls?
That's true. That is a good point to bring up because there are theories that like the Clone Wars Palp and the you know Galactic Civil War Palp weren't the real bodies. It was
Christ.
actually right, like, but the movie doesn't explain that.
No.
It just says that it's like so he's like a decrepit corpse, right? Which I get, but it kind of like they didn't really explain that at all. We're having to fill in our own blanks here because yeah, there's people who think that the Sheev we knew and loved from the original six movies was a clone the whole time, right? And that real Palpatine was just on Exegol throughout the events of all the movies,
Oh,
right?
I guess that's probably,
Have you
yeah.
heard that?
I have. I just like I just don't. I don't believe that. That's too far fetched for me.
I know. I don't want to believe that because
No,
that undermines everything about the original six movies.
no, that was definitely Palpatine. He definitely died. I think in my head canon, and apparently also according to the Rise of Skywalker Visual Dictionary, um,
Uh-oh.
Palpatine did die, but his body was recovered and through like Sith alchemy and uh,
Bullshit. He vaporized twice. His shit got vaporized twice in the beam, and then when the freaking you're telling me that there were some Sith Eternals just like waiting at the
yes,
bottom of the thing,
that's apparently
and
what they
like
say.
they were able to peace out before the Lando blew up the Death Star. Come
That's what I'm saying. Like, it would have just been a lot easier to believe if they would just been like, his essence lived. We found a way to possess a corpse, like a random corpse, because that motherfucker just looked like an old, like cancer-ridden Ian McDermott. I'm sorry to say
I
that,
know,
but
right?
like,
No,
you
he
know,
didn't. He looked like a Deadite. You know, like the
yeah,
Evil Dead movies.
yeah.
He looked just like a Deadite. He had like black lips and like no pupils.
Yeah.
It was kind of metal, but
It
at the
was
same time, it was like
so cool.
it's kind of stupid.
Which
Yeah.
I know, but like I have to give it to them because like I'm like, look, if you guys are gonna be going in on this whole Palpatine's back thing, this is the best visual representation of that idea. I'm down with
Yes.
that. Like,
Yeah, and that's
you
like
know,
I was saying. I was like, yeah, if you're gonna be ridiculous with it, fine. Like make him
hmm
a Deadite. Make him like yeah. So but yeah, it confounds the mind. It breaks everything
yeah, no,
because
it's
yeah, like it breaks the other movies. It breaks the original six movies.
yeah,
It just and it doesn't make any sense why
no,
Kylo would want to immediately join with him too, right? Because he's 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 going there to kill him for one, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because the opening crawl
which
suggests that he was
yes,
pissed that Palpatine was back, so he's trying to go and extinguish it, right? That was like
which
the thing, right?
yeah, and that's like that's the thing. Like again with like my version, not to jump ahead, but sorry, I'm drinking. If I had a version of
No,
this
drink
trilogy,
away, my dude.
thank
We
you.
need some.
I fucking have to get through this crap.
Yeah,
I
dude.
hate this shit. I hate talking about this because I love talking about this, but I hate talking about it because it makes me sad to think about how it is.
Oh, buddy, it's okay. It's
But
okay. We
it's
have the
okay.
original movies.
Exactly.
It's okay.
It's
That's all that matters.
exactly.
Just
Anywho,
remember,
no, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm getting off topic here. But
it's
um,
okay.
like no matter what way they could have gone with it, like if at least Kylo's motivation towards wanting to seek out Palpatine makes sense. Like I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna be a good leader. He's gonna be trying to be the best he can be. He's gonna try to finally be in that position that his grandfather never had, and he's gonna be that bad, really good leader, and he's
Yeah.
going to want to snuff out anyone trying to challenge his power. That makes sense. Especially the guy who manipulated his grandfather. Like,
Right.
there's some
Exactly.
personal shit there.
But
The,
so why didn't he just fucking kill him when he saw him? Why did he immediately join? I'm with you. I really am, and I agree. I think him searching him out is cool, and he should have, he needed to go and kill him like the movie said he was going to try to do. But he just like bros with him immediately,
fuck,
even
I
after learning that
know.
he was behind everything. You know what I mean?
I think,
That
okay,
was redonk.
well, I was there with you, but then I was, like, looking into it a little more, and I
Uh-oh.
was like, well, he doesn't, he, like, hesitates because, like, again, this is like something that I think I have to say to justify something, but it's something to be said because it ties into something about Kylo and Ben, and it's like important. Is that
Mm-hmm.
um, I think he needed. Well, right away, Palpatine says, "Look, like I have a lot to talk about. I have a lot to say." And Kylo's like open to learning because he's like he does still revere Palpatine. Like, dude, you were my grandfather's master. You were like one of the top Sith lords of the galaxy. I'm not gonna, like, I want to kill you, but like, let me know what you got to say too, because I'm out here seeking knowledge. I'm trying to expand my ways in the Sith. You know, I want to be, even though he said let the past die, blah blah blah. He still acknowledges like the dark side stuff in my opinion, because he knew what the Wayfinder was right away. Like
Yeah, yeah.
like he had his ship ready to like detect one. So, you can
Mm-hmm.
let the past die as much as you want, but you still have to remember and analyze what that was before you. But um, what was I getting at? Sorry. Oh yeah, no. But immediately afterwards, Palpatine says, "Hey, like before, like he knew like Kylo was gonna beat the shit out of him in a second, and he's like, before you kill me, hey, just want to let you know that girl Ray, she's not who you think she is." And that was the reason for me to say, oh, that's why he didn't just kill him, because he was like, the whole plot of his whole arc in the movie, which made sense to me. Like I know,
Okay.
I
I got you.
you know,
Okay, I feel you there. I'm glad you brought that up. That makes sense. Yeah,
but
this
but
is good.
it would have been so much cooler if like the thing I like about Trevorrow's version is just like Kylo's a fucking badass. He gives no fucks.
Yeah, he had a
you know,
beard.
yeah, and he would, yeah, exactly, he did. He just would have been like, yo, I'm gonna kill you. Get out of here.
Right.
But
Um
anywho, let's keep going.
no, no, you're good. I do feel you there. I really do. It still is kind of like it's kind of crazy, but I don't know. Um Damn. Okay. God, we're still in the opening scene, aren't we? Jesus Christ.
We keep going.
Okay. No, it's
Exegol,
okay. I'm trying to
Palpatine.
think if there's any. I'm trying to think if there's any other
Oh well, the Star Destroyers come out of the
thoughts.
ground
Oh yeah.
like 2 seconds
How
later.
did he get those? How did he get that's all. How did he get the funding and the manpower? If he could do that behind the scenes for like 30 years, why couldn't he just like take over the galaxy back in the day? You know what I mean?
I guess the whole thing is, God, I hate this because no matter what I do to try to justify it, it's just bullshit. But
I know.
he was brought back as a corpse, body, puppet thing by the Sith Eternal who worshipped him, which I'm okay with to a certain extent because, look, you're expanding the world building and the lore of Star Wars with this whole Sith Eternal thing. That's awesome. Let's open that door up. Who are they? And I've seen some things online which I didn't really look into to see if it's legitimate or if it's just fan theory, but they were pointing out like
Yeah.
people like those guys in Return of the Jedi that are like chilling near Palpatine in his throne room with like the purple robes and stuff. Like those are Sith Eternal, like things like that, like trying to
Purple
justify.
robes. I don't remember that. I remember
Yeah.
the Royal Guard.
No, there are like some people. Hold on. Return of the Jedi.
No.
Yeah, dude. Palpatine.
I've seen this movie a million times. I don't remember any purple robes.
Friends. I honestly don't know what to search to pull it up. Yeah, these guys. Look,
Friend.
the Emperor's advisors.
Hold on,
Palpatine.
I'm waiting for the stream to catch up so I can look and see.
Palpatine advisors. I can't really see if I'm spelling this correctly. Yeah, these guys, dude.
I need to see.
These fucking guys, man.
Oh, those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I saw somewhere
His name
something.
is Janus.
Apparently.
You think
Look,
his first name is Hugh?
I hate you.
Sorry.
No, that's awesome. Um, but no, like I don't know. Maybe it might be Hugh Janus. It was saying something about how they're Sith Eternal. I don't know, but like it's cool. I like it, like I love it and hate it at the same time because there's no lead up to this. There's no tie-in. Like, dude, if this was the plan all along, please sprinkle these people in the trilogy. Like, what if we saw that purple guy just being like, "Hey, shady character in a back alley, here's some money. Let's talk about paying off that Star Destroyer fleet you built for us." You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, dude, I would have shit bricks. You want to talk about fan service? Like, do some deep shit like that. Because you already dropped the ball on Plagueis. You already dropped the ball on
Yeah.
setting up some kind of arc with Snoke in a meaningful way. So, either you give us Trevorrow's version or you fuck off. Because what you guys gave us is just a retcon of everything you've done. It bothers me. It's beyond freaking fan service at this point. It just outdoes the other two films. It gives no fucks about anything because at the same time it's like, hey, ancillary material matters, but we're not gonna follow it because I don't know if you know this, but in The Force Awakens, around sometime in the comic book series at the time, I really don't know the name because I dropped off after Darth Vader series.
Another comic book series.
Well,
God damn it.
it justified it actually had Poe and Rey meet prior to The Last Jedi. And then all of a sudden The Last Jedi comes out and at the end of the movie it's like, "Hey, I'm Poe. Hey, I'm Rey." And it's
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah,
So they wrecked their own canon already?
that was the first strike in this whole thing where I was like, that's a little weird.
Ooh.
And that
I
was
didn't know about that.
yeah.
I thought that they only met in Last Jedi.
Mm-mm. And it's
Damn.
gotten worse, Ben. It's gotten worse, dude.
Oh no.
They keep disregarding shit. Like, they can fly now. Not only is that completely against everything that we've seen already with the Clone Wars, but
Right.
it already happened in a comic book series where they saw fucking First Order troopers using jetpacks.
Yeah,
It's
you're
like,
right.
they can't follow their own ancillary material. They
Complete
don't
disregard for their own bullshit.
It's
right?
it's like, come on, guys. You were trying to say, okay, the legacy storyline now is bullshit. We're gonna make our own canon, and you can't even give us a solid consistency with the canon. It's like you want us to follow the ancillary material to justify your half-assed script in these movies, but you also can't even give us a consistency between the two. This whole thing's
Yeah.
a joke, and I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
hold on, I'm gonna burp.
Do it.
Okay, we're good. But
Get a good burp in.
I had to. I
Aw,
muted
you can
it.
mute.
I had
wanted
to.
do it. No.
Next one I will. But you still there?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
still
good.
here.
But it's like, dude, I, I, this is the thing. Like, I can't even get through the scenes of this movie's intro because within the first couple moments of this film, I'm already like subconsciously running these thoughts through my head, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I just don't. There's no way that any of this is okay. There's no. Yeah, you're good. I'm sorry if I'm too loud. There's no way that any of this is okay. It's just like I get what JJ was doing, and I praise him for it because, hey, he finally ended something. But
Quotation marks.
yeah, well,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
But it's just like, dude, like, now that the Trevorrow script came out, I'm like, oh my god,
Oh my god.
that was
Yeah.
that was what I wanted to see. I wanted
That's
to see
where
that.
the shit was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like-
That's where the shit was.
Like, this whole movie actually felt like I'm just gonna say this for a minute. Part of
Yeah.
this movie felt like it was directed by Rian Johnson. I was like with the no, yeah, like there were so many fucking stupid fake outs. I was like, what are we doing? Like,
No, I feel
Chewie,
it. With Chewie, yeah, exactly. Yeah, we had the same thought.
just kill him.
Um,
Just let him die then. If you're gonna kill him.
Oh no.
Like, I don't want you to. I love Chewie. Don't do that to me. But, like, don't, like, fuck with my emotions like that and then literally 10 seconds later be like, hey, he's okay. Oh, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. I
Very good.
fucked up and accidentally hit the mute button.
You're good.
I was moving my mouse around too much.
No, you're good. I
As I
just.
do.
Oh, yeah, no, you're good. Me too.
I'm just kidding.
Oh.
But no.
Like it's so the tone. It's like inconsistent tone. It's like
Yeah, you're right.
he's
Okay, we'll get to the Chewie thing, right? Because that's like
it's
we're still
fucking
not past
annoying.
fucking Palpatine.
I hate it. Okay, keep going. I
We're
know, I know.
still not past Palpatine.
There's a lot to
Um,
say. Within these first couple minutes, they just smash into 1 second.
right. God. Well, that's I guess that's a big problem. Like right out the gate with the movie is just like immediately there's all this information and all these reveals done just through expository dialogue,
Yes.
and it's in less than like 5 minutes. It's just like, you know, this is what we're doing. We need to do. I feel like I don't know if JJ really wanted to bring Palpatine back the whole time, then I think he had to have basically like planted the seeds way sooner, right?
Yeah.
Like way sooner. Um, and I think that was him making up for it, right? Like basically talking, you know, pushing all that information out the gate right in the beginning of the movie, um, which was severely to its detriment, right?
Yes.
Like severely. So, God, okay. So that's. I'm trying to think if I have any more Palpatine thoughts before going on to the light speed skipping scene, because I have a few thoughts on that too. But I mean, I guess we'll have more on Palpatine throughout the movie. So, if I remember correctly, the very next scene is the light speed skipping, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's just like
Yeah.
right away, which is nonsense.
Fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit because even going back to JJ's own movie, remember Han Solo using the gravitational pull of Starkiller Base and how that was supposed to be impossible,
Yeah.
and it was a, you know, one in a million kind of thing basically.
Yeah.
That's what Poe was freaking doing, like, you know, one after the other. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It breaks everything because it's like going back to the original movie. He's like, you know, Han's like, it takes precise calculations to do the this light speed jump, boy or kiddo, whatever he says.
Yeah.
And then, you know, still keeping in that with that idea, take it to Force Awakens, where he's like, you know, we have to, you know, use the gravitational pull of the Starkiller Base to like do it. And I don't think it might not work, but you know, we gotta like try it or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it like when he did it in Force Awakens, it still kind of kept within the lore and like the rules of the universe, right?
Yeah.
But but what Poe was doing completely breaks it. Completely breaks it.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Am I wrong?
Oh no, you're not wrong, and that it just hearing it makes you want to throw up. It's just
Yeah.
I don't.
And how are the what's it called? How are the TIE fighters tracking him through there too? That should have been impossible for them as well.
Which I'm sorry,
Right?
wait.
Taking off the light speed tracking thing from Last Jedi, like
Another
what on
thing. Yeah, that's another thing I want to mention. If we
Uh-oh.
had light speed tracking from the last movie, why are we not doing it in this one?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I want to bash my head and not come back to it and never remember this trilogy, because it's just not a trilogy. It's just 3 films on their own that are a slap in the face to Star Wars.
Yeah, man. 100%.
I just hold on. Let me know if you lose me. I just have to reach down.
I got you.
Oh, getting some. I gotta get this here.
Yeah, right.
Extra cord that fell down. Unplug the lights. Okay, bear with me there. Can you hear me?
Bear with me there. Yeah, I got you.
Okay. We're still there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't know. The
I'm
light
sorry.
speed. No, you're good. It's just like every part of it, like in the intro, just makes me realize how stupid it all is. It makes no sense. It's just like
Yeah.
the first act of this movie is so bad. It's just so bad. It's just like
Yeah.
just ridiculous fan fiction that it's like wow, I can't believe I thought of making that a story. It's really bad, but let's do it anyway. And then, like, decent payoff. Like the whole second half to the end is just like it's good. Like I can't hate on it. Like I really don't remember much after the Lightspeed skipping.
Of the
It's like,
movie.
well, it's just it's so fast and so much of it just didn't matter. It's like MacGuffin searching MacGuffin, MacGuffin, this MacGuffin. Let's find this MacGuffin, and it's
Yeah.
like I felt like I remember one of the first reviews I saw before I saw the movie. It said, "Hey, this is like a video game. It's like quest to quest."
Yeah.
And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, very much
what?
so.
And then I saw it. I'm like, oh my god, no, this is real.
Yeah.
So I guess I spoiled it all for me beforehand, but it got to the point where I was like, I just know Disney. If these leaks are real, Disney just does not understand how to do this.
Yeah.
And
Clearly.
that's the thing I want to say. It's just like it. I'm getting distracted. I got to talk about this
No,
stupid
you're
movie.
no, you're good, man. We'll get there. I promise. I promise we'll get there. But let's see. So I guess I've said all I need to on the light speed skipping. It's really stupid and undermines what Han did and the whole. It breaks the whole like that. To me, that breaks the physics and the of everything more than the Holdo maneuver. Personally,
I agree.
you know
The,
what I mean?
the
Like
only
people are
thing.
upset about that, and I'm like, fuck off. Like that was fine. Like, but the
No.
this breaks it completely. I think. I don't know.
Well, do you know why I always try to find a way to justify these things because I'm like, okay, even though
Oh
I think
god.
it's a stupid idea right away,
Okay.
let me
I
roll
like
with
it
it.
though. I like doing the devil's advocate
No,
thing.
I agree. Me too. But
So so how is it supposed to work, my dude?
in my mind, I only justify it by saying, okay, Han was advising Luke and Obi-Wan on what is the proper, safest etiquette with lightspeed travel, but Poe is aware of these rules and decides to break them and says, you know what, I'm going to take these odds because he's just like that hotshot, chaotic, crazy hero. And I'm like, oh my god. And he like relies on luck that somehow is ridiculously good. So I'm like, okay, I'll roll with that because like this whole trilogy kind of seems to be telling me that like maybe everybody's force sensitive. I don't fucking know anymore. But Poe's the best pilot in the galaxy. You established
That's
that already,
true.
so I'll roll with
That's
this.
true.
So that's why I justify it. But I agree with you that the concept on its own is stupid beyond all hell.
Right. You
But
do have a point there, because they and that really Poe was always set up as the best pilot, right? Like from
yeah,
the beginning, which we got to see in both Force Awakens and Last Jedi, right?
hmm
Like they both he had really sick piloting scenes in both. So I guess
yeah, they were dope.
that's the only that's the only scene that he pilots. So I guess they had to compensate by making him do something really outrageous and stupid. Because right,
Yeah,
he doesn't, or I guess he does at the end, but he doesn't do anything spectacular, does he? Not in the final battle. Not
no,
like a Poe maneuver. You know what I mean? Not like
and
when he was,
yeah,
freaking space drifting from in the Last Jedi. Do you remember that shit?
yeah, that was dope.
That was sick. Like when he was taking out the cannons, I was like, oh my god,
In
oh my
fact,
god.
I have to interject and jump ahead to that battle. That oh, I'm
Uh,
sorry, I didn't want to interrupt Sierra.
no, she's over here. She's playing Kingdom Hearts
I
here.
love it,
How you
dude.
doing, babe? The seagull leg, you have to climb the one of the trees. That one. See, it was in frame. There. See it to the right. Yeah, climb that one. Sorry,
No,
we're
you're
getting
good.
excited.
No, that's awesome.
But
No,
okay. So yeah, that you do have a good point. Where yeah, I guess the movie did need to show something with Poe piloting since they basically forgot his whole character arc and
but
he
that's
didn't
the
need to
thing.
do anything.
Like,
Hmm. Uh-huh.
I'm there with her. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, it's so bad. It's so disappointing. It's just,
Yeah.
I'm trying to move on from this.
Yeah, God, it's been like an hour, and we've only talked about two scenes.
Yeah, 54 minutes. I know.
I'm sorry.
You're good though. There's just so much to say. It's so.
There's so much to unpack.
Let's hold on. Let's see. All right, blah blah blah
Okay,
blah.
okay. So next thing is ray
Pisana.
training, right?
Oh, ray training. Yeah, it's
Right.
like I'm cool with it,
Which
but at this
which
point,
is
it's
fine,
yeah. But why are you
but
showing me
it
at this
went
point?
way too fast. It went way too. Because remember, so here's how it played out, right? She gets upset because Kylo Ren starts like fucking with her, right? He like trips her or something. He's like playing a little joke.
Yeah.
He's like
What?
flirting with her or something. He's like, heh.
I
And she
don't
like gets real
know.
pissed off, and then she hurts BB-8, right? Which is like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, I kind of like that idea because it kind of finally starts to, if they're going with the Palpatine thing, it kind of like finally starts to introduce the idea of like her anger is kind of like, she can let it get the
Blocking.
best of
Yeah.
her,
Yeah.
or something like that. There's something there, and I'm no
Yes.
writer, but I know that there's something there. But so she immediately like goes to Leia, and she's like, I'm not feeling this. Like I'm not doing a good job. So she hands her the saber. Okay, let's talk about the saber for a minute because I don't know about you, but I hate that it's just like taped back together from the last movie. That is the stupidest thing. They could have had some real like development in a way by having Rey make her own saber from the pieces, right? Not just
Yeah.
not just have her like literally put a leather piece of tape around the Luke saber. It's again, it's going off of Last Jedi. If you're gonna break the saber, then just let it stay broken, and have Rey like it's like do a parallel of how Luke made his own lightsaber in Return of the Jedi,
Well, it's the
right?
same as like why did he bring his Kylo's helmet back?
It's exactly right.
And why have
No,
this
you're
stupid
absolutely right.
fucking red shit on his mask?
Exactly. So I did read something about.
Oh.
So I will say this. I will play a little bit of devil's advocate on the Ren helmet, right? I read something where it was like
The
it was
Japanese concept.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. Which is kind of neat because Jedi and Sith have always been like, what's it called? Mirrors to samurai ways, right? Which is pretty neat, which I appreciate that. And even like thematically, I kind of get what they were doing and how like in Last Jedi he was trying to move away from the Kylo Ren identity, so he smashes his helmet. But in this movie, he kind of reclaims it by being the supreme leader. So that's, I think, what they were going for when they were like, just have him repair his fucking helmet, right?
Yeah.
So, like, thematically, it's kind of like, okay, fine. But at the same time, it's like Rey's situation. Why didn't you just make a new helmet? Make a new lightsaber? Just make something new. Make something that's your own. Ugh. You piece of shit.
Yeah. It just. I don't even have words right now. I just want to keep getting through this.
I'm sorry.
No.
I keep lingering on
sorry.
like little things.
No, I'm there with you. I just.
The saber does piss me off though, in a way. So okay, you're right. I'm sorry. So the training. So okay, so that scene just moves at breakneck speed because Poe gets back. They're mad at each other, and then they're like, "Holy shit, we have to find a thing." And then Leia's like, "Now you're ready," and she gives the saber back or something. You're right. It's like in the same 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if they would let that breathe, that could have been something. But it was kind of just like, nope. Like, it's like, why even have her give the lightsaber to Leia if she's just gonna get it right back? You know what I mean?
That's. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like the same damn thing, whether she does or not. Like, why even have it? Like, have it. I don't know. I don't know.
Hold
It's
on.
ridiculous.
Can you give
Oh,
me
you're good,
like?
buddy.
Can you give me like literally 1 second? I just have to turn around and grab water, but I have to take my headset off. It'll be literally
Yes.
a second.
No, you're fine. Do it. Do what
Alright,
you
1
gotta
second.
do.
I'll mute it. I'll mute it. Shay.
Was it over there? Titus is the kid with the stick. think there's a mushroom on that little island
Okay,
across the
I'm good.
bridge. Okay, sweet.
Sorry.
No, you're
Yeah.
fine.
Um. Yeah.
Unless you already got it. Sorry, I was trying to help Sierra with finding a mushroom,
Oh.
if you know what I mean.
Oh. I might.
No, no. I don't know where the last one is. It might be back where it, try going back to where you raced Riku. Through that door on the right, on the bottom. It might be somewhere in there. I'm sorry, dog.
No, you're
Uh,
totally good.
let's see. So where were we? Okay, so the training, and then okay, so yeah, they now. Oh shit! I clicked on a Lando Calrissian link.
Uh huh.
I was trying to pull up the plot synopsis. So they go. Okay, so they go to Pisana.
Yes. Persona.
Because Luke wrote down in his journal that there was a way to exogol.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Okay, but and then it's like Lando's thing. Okay. Here's the thing. Why is there another goddamn sand planet? Can't we do something else? This is the third sand planet in all of these movies, and
I
it's
mean,
like
I
let's
can't
do
agree.
something else visually. Don't you agree? It's like, come on.
No, I do. I can't disagree. I don't understand why the whole thing just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
it's like I'm jumping ahead a little, but like the sand planet thing bothers me. But then it's like, why is Lando here? Why was Luke tra- tracking down Palpatine and like if he knew all about this stuff, why didn't he tell Rey? Like what's going on? Why didn't he tell anybody?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Ah,
going further in the movie, apparently he knew that Rey was Palpatine. Remember?
and so did
Him,
Leia.
him,
Yeah,
and Leia knew.
yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck, Luke? It's not Luke. It's Jake Skywalker,
Jake
according to
Skywalker.
Mark Hamill.
Yeah, no.
Did you hear about that?
I did. Yeah. I
Because
mean,
Mark's so like that what they did, so he's like, I have to think of it as a different character.
I get it. I just, I think for me, it's like
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know. He just, the whole thing's just crazy. It's just, I guess he wanted to not like completely break her spirits and wanted and like saw her true spirit inside of her. Like I guess that's what Luke even says to her in Rise of Skywalker. He's like, yeah, you were Palpatine, blah blah blah, but you know we saw your true spirit inside you. And it's like, okay, I get that. That's fine. It's slightly justified, but it's still just like it doesn't
yeah,
change the tone, you know, like the tone of the
yeah.
Last Jedi and everything
No,
else. Like, come on. It's
yeah,
like it's kind of one of those things where it's like, don't watch these films before us, but like try to remember them and go into this
yeah,
saying, okay, these characters believe this, and you're gonna go with it because like you can kind of see that that's true because you haven't refreshed your brain on how this story actually goes.
yeah,
And that's what it is. It's like, let's take these characters and just turn them into this whole other version of them that arc doesn't matter. And it's like, come on, like
yeah.
it bothers me.
It's it kind of like brings into the question, why even do an episode 7, 8, 9 if you're just gonna kind of A, shit on these characters' legacies, and B, kill them off in each movie. We have each of the trio dies in all three of the movies, and it's like, to what end? They all become failures. Like, why even like why even do that? You know? Yeah, let the past die really was their whole agenda, I guess, from the beginning.
And
Because, hey, you like Han Solo? Too bad, he's dead. You like Luke Skywalker? Too bad, he's a coward and he's dead. You like Leia? Too bad. She's dead and had a horrible son who killed half the universe. She's a failure.
But
Congratulations, kid.
if we're going with that, then why didn't they stick to that? Why didn't they say, okay, we set this up? Because, like, look, at the end of the day, I have to ask myself, and this is a question that I want to get to at some point, but here we are. What
Yep.
was the point of this trilogy?
I don't know. That's a very good question.
And if you're
Let's
gonna
see.
tell us,
I
hey,
guess it's. I mean, the messages are all so like confused because
yeah,
from Force Awakens, let's take Rey's journey, right? In Force Awakens, the thing is kind of like you have to forge your own path, right?
yeah,
Because the whole time she thought she had to wait for her family, but then by the end of the movie, she kind of made her own choice to accept this calling that was the lightsaber.
yeah.
Um, I gotta take a sip of water. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
Hmm. I'm not gonna have a voice tomorrow either. It's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
No, I'm messing around. I'm kidding. But and then in Last Jedi, it does kind of, in a way, continue that thread where it's revealed that she's no one, which is a message that I like. It's like, you don't have to be anyone. You can, you know, um, you can still be a hero and still be strong in the Force, kind of thing, right?
yes.
Which is cool. But then in this movie, it's like, no, family ties are everything. And if you want to, you can just take someone else's family name and take their legacy.
Well,
You know what I mean?
that's actually something I wanted to bring up in the beginning of
With
this
her
video.
calling herself Skywalker
Yeah.
at the end.
The whole thing, it's just like, okay, we're there now. I was actually gonna bring this up in the beginning and I skipped it, but like last video,
Uh-oh.
I wanted to say like, the whole entire problem with this whole trilogy is Rey. It's like if we had made her a
Aw.
character that was nobody, that's fine. It's a beautiful message to share. I think it kind of harkens back to, what we mentioned about her place in the movie. Like Kylo even says, like, you have no place in this, blah blah blah. That's a great message. At first, I was really pissed off because I was like, dude, the whole mystery box approach was she's somebody important, blah blah blah. You know, and I've seen so many people say, you guys are wrong. The fans twisted this. The fans wanted it to be something more. You look too into it. And I'm like, that's one thing, but it's a whole other thing when the film is blatantly throwing it in our face that, hey, there's a mystery behind her. So
Yes.
we expected more, and we should have that answer. Just like JJ said about Ryan's approach to The Last Jedi and the characterization of Rey, it's a meta approach. People don't go to the theaters looking for that kind of stuff. They want to see whatever. They want to have answers,
Sure.
I agree with that, but at the same time, I fucking like Ryan's approach because it broke the formula. Like,
Yeah.
and
And
that's
it's like I agree. I do, a part of me like is let down by, like you said, like last Force Awakens was set up a certain way where we thought there was something behind this Rey character.
right.
But Last Jedi tore that down, which I liked to an extent if they were gonna follow up on it, right? They
right.
didn't follow up on it. They wrecked it. As much as I don't care much for The Last Jedi as a whole, there are ideas in it that I really appreciated and wanted to see followed up on, like that.
Yes, and that's the thing.
Um,
If you're gonna, I just want to interject because I think you're gonna
yeah,
say
yeah,
it. If
go
if
for it.
if you're gonna throw in things that we don't like, that's totally fine. There are things about all of my favorite trilogies that I don't like in the second part, because they
Yeah,
challenge you. They make you question things, and at first I was like, dude, Johnson's fucking nuts. Like, I don't think it's the next Empire. I don't get that. But
no,
now that this has come out and it's completed, I'm like, it's not the next Empire, but in the context of this quote unquote trilogy, it is. And for
yeah,
that, I appreciate it. And I've actually grown to love it more now that it's all completed. And that's the thing. If you're gonna introduce this idea of Rey being a nobody, you follow through with that. You don't backtrack. But there is something that I want to mention is, you know, like you said earlier, Rey all of a sudden decides to take the name of Skywalker. I think JJ's original idea was for her to be Luke's child or
you
a
think so?
Skywalker. Yes, I think he was either going to have her be literally a reincarnation of Anakin or
Yeah,
she was going to be Luke's kid. And I think the fact that what is the why 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 other than to please fan theories would you decide to be a Skywalker after she's basically had her arc? Why completely flip it and change it unless you're trying to also answer this thing you wanted to set up from the get-go that you didn't get to see through.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
I think that in terms of the character development in these films, JJ did get a chance to do it. I think his original idea was whatever. I don't know his whole idea for the second arc, but by the third arc of this trilogy, he wanted Ben to be redeemed, and he wanted Rey to discover that she's a Skywalker or something. And
Right, right.
I think he did that and he got to do that, but there's the shit in between that he had to do to A, bring the fan base back together, B, correct and course correct the Star Wars franchise because Johnson and then Solo it kind of derailed the franchise. He needed to bring it back just like he did. He was doing kind of a repeat of what he did in The Force Awakens, just shittier, where he was trying
Yeah.
to, um, you know, bring people together for a new version of Star Wars. And for that reason,
Hmm.
I'm also like, that's why it feels so disconnected. It feels like it's kind of the start of something new, but at the same time, the end of something new, but at the same time, its own thing, and it just is so disconnected, and it's just
Yeah.
fucked. I feel like
Yeah.
if anything, there's just a film missing. like,
Yeah.
like they could correct this if they just decided to have two films, a 9 and a 10.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
can't break
There's a
that.
couple of films missing, I think. You're right. And
Yeah.
it's like I think I at my heart I don't really understand why she took Skywalker as a name.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, if she knows, okay, what think about all the Skywalkers she knows, like true and tried Skywalkers.
Yeah.
Anakin Skywalker, the Darth Vader, the murderer of, half the galaxy. Yes, he redeemed himself, but, you know, Anakin Skywalker still is overall kind of a bad guy, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
And then Luke Skywalker, who was a huge dick to her on the island and, basically, said fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, all the Skywalkers she knows have kind of been assholes to her.
Yeah.
I feel like, in the context of the story, I don't get why she didn't take Solo as an or like
Thank you.
or Organa or something,
Oh
Or like,
my god, it should have
or
been Solo.
she even could have like kept the name Palpatine and like change it into a new name, meaning like change it from the negative context to a positive context. You know what I mean?
Which,
Like that would have been
yes.
kind of a more powerful thing. Like take your own your
Yeah.
lineage, but make it your own kind of thing, and
Yes.
make like I'm Ray Palpatine, but I'm not. I don't know. It's something. Maybe not exactly that,
No, no,
but
no. You literally said.
it's just her saying taking the Skywalker name is a little bit iffy to me.
I hate it.
Like and that being the last like line of the movie, I did the eye roll thing. I was like, okay, I get it. She Rose Dawson. She did the thing from Titanic. Um, have you seen Titanic?
Yeah, yeah.
You've seen Titanic.
Yeah,
Rose
yeah, yeah.
freaking like she like she doesn't want to be like the rich person, I guess, anymore, right?
Yeah.
And then but Jack died, so she says her name is Jack. I don't know, something like that. Yeah. So
No.
but in that context, she could have called herself Ray Solo because she loved Ben Solo.
It's
like,
more
what
than
the
that.
fuck are you doing, movie? And Han was actually her
Yes,
mentor,
yes.
not Luke.
And even Leia, like Organa's just an adopted name. She was still like to a certain extent a Solo more than anything. In the context of like the
Yeah.
of Han being like a father figure and Rey being I'm sorry and Ben being her like love interest, it makes the
Yeah.
most sense for her to accept Leia as a Solo. Like the whole thing
Yeah.
should have been.
It's really whack.
I actually saw again. I hate to say this, but the
Uh-oh.
fan theories for episode 9 are better
Oh
than this,
no.
and one
I
of them
agree.
said one of them was a Raylo Tumblr or thread or whatever, and it said like,
Tumblr.
yeah, I go on them occasionally, and it
No,
said,
I'm messing around.
no, you're good.
Just don't go
It's
on the dark side of
no,
Tumblr.
I avoid it.
There's some nasty stuff,
There
dude.
is, there is.
There's some nasty stuff in Tumblr.
I know. That's why I have to cleanse my nastiness with Rule 34.
Oh god damn it. God damn it, John.
I want to Rule 34 Ray after this. No, but anyway.
I love you.
I love you too.
Oh god damn it.
No, but
Crazy kid.
but fuck, what was I saying? Oh, so no, there was a Raylo community thread that said like, it would have been cooler if Ben had lived, and they both went to Tatooine to bury the sabers, and she said, "I'm Rey Solo," and like he looks over at her and says, "Solo, really?" And like they have like banter, and I'm like, dude, that ending would have been better than what we got.
Yeah. He absolutely. I think he should have lived for sure. I mean,
yes.
Well, okay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he did do awful things, and he kind of needs to have some kind of penance for that. I don't know. Kylo's kind of like. I guess I just would have. I guess I just didn't like their kiss more than anything.
Yeah, Shay wants to talk about that. She hated that part.
Oh my god. Yeah, I hated it too. Yeah, we both. Sierra and I hated it too. I kind of like mimicked getting out of the theater at that point. I was like, I put my like leg razor down. I'm like, all right, I'm out. I'm done. Kind of thing. Because like I think before the movie, like I told, I don't know if I told you, if I told Sierra, but I was like, if they kiss, I'm out. Like if they do the Raylo thing, then I'm out of here. And it happened, and I'm like, God fucking damn it! It's the second time that's happened in a Star Wars movie. Where I know this is kind of off topic, but going back to Solo.
Yeah.
Which I actually like. I do like
Same.
Solo overall.
Yeah.
But leading up to the movie, I was like, I had this really bad feeling. I was like, I really don't want them to do like something stupid where they like look at the camera and they're like, he's on his own, so he's gonna be Solo or something like that.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
God,
Because
yeah.
I hated in Rogue One. I don't like Rogue One very much at all to begin with, but I hated the scene where they're about to take off and they're like, "What's your call sign?" And he like looks around, and then he looks at the camera and he's like, "We're Rogue One." And I'm like, "Fuck off with that bullshit." So I had a really bad feeling they were gonna do the same thing in Solo. And they did. And it was in the first, like, 10 minutes of the movie. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I kind of, like, cringed at the end of the Skywalker Rise of Skywalker. I'm like, come on.
Like,
you know what I mean?
No,
it's like, you motherfuckers.
I do. It's like...
It makes no sense. That whole scene doesn't make sense. Because think about it. Why is she burying the sabers in the first place? Like, those are useful. You could use those. Pass them on.
Yeah.
Do something, you piece of shit. Sorry, I'm getting saucy. Second of all, why is she on Tatooine? That has no significance to Leia, for one.
No.
And for two, Luke hated Tatooine. He wanted to leave the whole time he lived there.
And Anakin hated it too.
Exactly. Anakin hated it too. What the fuck was she going to Tatooine to bury the sabers for? And why was BB-8 with her? BB-8 is Poe's droid. The hell was BB-8 doing next to her? I have severe problems with that scene. I am not a fan. I think... Yeah. And let me get this straight. I really like Rey. I really do.
Really?
I think her arc is underwritten for sure, and they really kind of like didn't have any clue what they wanted to do with her, or they did, but they kept like playing tug of war with it between JJ and Ryan.
Yes.
But like Daisy is a really good actress. I think she really sells the role, and she's really charming in the role. But yes, I think her character is severely underwritten, and just bad news bears all around, in my opinion. But I do really like Rey, like at the heart of the character. Like, I guess going off of Force Awakens Rey, like that's my favorite Rey.
I agree.
she's great in that movie. But yeah, like I don't know. I guess I got sidetracked a little bit.
No, no,
But
no, you're good. I actually wanted to touch on that because
you
it's
want to
funny.
touch on Ray?
Well,
Yeah, I
I do,
feel that.
I do, I do. I would love to, but no. Um, I wanted to say like with
Sorry.
no, no, you're good. I love it. Um,
Consensual.
of course it has to be with that ending scene. There's actually I can't find it. I was trying to search it while you were talking, but there's someone who
You're
mentioned
good.
that that shot is actually not the original shot. It's part of the whole reshooting of the film in the past couple months, where it was like that shot is an identical shot of her um, looking out on Pisana, waiting for Kylo to come. I think,
What?
yeah, something
For
like
real?
that. Yes,
Oh my
and
god.
they just added a lightsaber or whatever she's holding with
What?
BB-8. Yeah, yeah, to the end. And I looked at
Oh my
the
god.
shot by shot comparison. And it's believable. I'll say that.
Really?
Yeah,
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
yeah. And then
That's crazy.
there was a whole bunch of leaks leading up to this film about there being like possibly six different endings.
I heard about that. Yes, there was like a bunch of different cuts, right?
Yeah, and dude,
I don't
I
honestly, I don't know about the validity of that.
yeah, Sam.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the leaks overall turned out to be true, so maybe the six different cuts were true too.
That's what I'm saying. And like the way that we like with that being presented to me, the way that we see the film, I'm like, that's possible. If there were
Yeah.
different cuts of this film, it's possible that they just didn't reshoot the ending. They just copied and pasted it and
Yeah.
made it
Yeah.
up. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude,
I don't know, man.
the whole
Excuse me, babe.
the whole film is just an absolute mess because even within the context of the story that's been told before, like even JJ's story that was told before with The Force Awakens, it just doesn't make sense. I'm just
No,
I'm
man.
so broken because like as a standalone film, I'm like it's not a bad Star Wars film. It's a really, really, really expensive fan fiction, and I'm cool with it. But I don't
Right.
consider it canon. I can't. But then there are parts of it where
Yeah,
I'm like,
I'm with you.
oh my god, this is so fucking cool. Like the Kylo and Rey stuff, I loved.
Yes.
I absolutely put it up there with like the Padme and Anakin stuff. I loved it. I was
Yo.
I was into it, man. I was into all of it. Like that was the one thing. Like there were three things that needed to happen in this next film after the Last Jedi for me. One, Kylo needed to be in search of some kind of greater power and greater strength, greater secrets,
Sure.
untold things, and like mess up anyone that gets in his way. That's
Which he
fine.
was for about
Exactly.
30 seconds.
Exactly. And I'm like, okay, okay. The second thing was that Rey needed to be something more important, and if it wasn't anything of value with her parents and her lineage, then it needed to be some kind of connection with Kylo. And they had that too. They were like, oh, she's part of the dyad. I'm like, yes. I was down with that. I loved the dyad shit because in my head canon, I'm like, look, if you're gonna make her a nobody, you can still salvage this by making her be some kind of um, um, embodiment of the cosmic force or
Mm,
equal to Kylo's um, uncertainty. You
interesting.
know what I mean? And they were doing that, dude. And like, this is all shit that I'm like, yes, I'm down with this. But when you start to all of a sudden retcon everything, everything. You're not just retconning the Last Jedi. You're retconning every single film before this. Like when you
Yeah.
literally sit there and break it down, it's not just the Last Jedi they're retconning. They're retconning Force Awakens, Return of the Jedi, Empire, New Hope, all the way back to the prequels. It's just like, actually, in fact, the only thing that really they don't retcon is the prequels. It's just like,
Mm.
this is ridiculous. It's basically one, two, three, skip a couple movies and then nine, and
Yeah.
I'm destroyed by that because it's like JJ's whole thing prior to this movie was I'm sure you heard this too. Oh, we're really looking into honoring the prequels or whatever he said, you know, like acknowledging the prequels, and I'm like, okay, you kind of do that in terms of
I don't
ridiculous.
think they did. I don't think they did. I'm sorry.
No, you're
I don't
good.
see it.
I don't either. I don't either at face value, but when I think about it, I'm like, I guess the whole idea of Palpatine finding a way to preserve his life after death, that's it.
Hmm.
But even that's a stretch. but like that's the only thing that I find a connecting thread to the other 6 films. I don't even find a
Mm.
connection. There's literally nothing in this movie. There's no Leia's all of a sudden a Jedi. That doesn't match any of the other films. I'll go with it. I'll roll with it because it's like that's cool. Why would that have not happened after Return of the Jedi? Which,
Yeah.
I'm cool with. It's different. I'll go with it. But like, there's that Han being a deadbeat dad. That's stupid. Luke
Yeah.
doing his thing and going into exile. Okay, I'll roll with it. But like, then you kill him off. It's like, okay. Basically,
Hmm.
it's all just like you said. They're not honoring the legacy characters. They're not honoring the original characters. They're literally the only thing I feel like they're acknowledging is the prequels, and barely even acknowledging it. They only acknowledge it in the first exposition of this movie, and then that's it.
Right.
And it's like, guys,
Yeah.
this is ridiculous. Like I like this film on its own, but it does not work as an entry to this episodical franchise. It just
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah. Episodical. Nice.
Thank you. But and I loved it when I first saw it. I was like, I didn't feel like anything afterwards. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to really see it again. I was just like, oh, okay, and it was underwhelming. And then I saw it a second time, and I'm like, oh, I love it. That's great. This is cool. It has its problems, but dude, it's awesome.
What,
Like,
Rise of Skywalker?
yeah, I cried like 3 times with certain things, man. Like
Oh.
like the Ben stuff, I loved. I loved Adam Driver in this movie. I
Oh yeah.
and
He's
that's
he's the best part of the whole kit and caboodle, I think. I think
yes,
he's been the most compelling character
yeah.
and aspect of the trilogy, I think,
I
for
agree
sure.
a thousandfold, and that's why I'm like really into wanting to rewatch this trilogy is because of him and Ray. But it's
Yeah.
like it's just so disappointing. It's just so annoying.
Mm.
It's like I don't even know what's next. Let's just like bullshit in this film. It's just MacGuffin, and then it's like Ray and Kylo have a conversation about how uh, she's a Palpatine. I don't even fucking know. It doesn't matter anymore at this point. It's just that
Oh, buddy.
they have some cool fighting scenes, which I liked. What did you think about the Force Skype fighting?
That was dope. I like that. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that's cool. Like they can actually like hurt each other through this connection they have, which yeah, that was cool. That was a neat idea.
Yeah.
I liked Ren pulling the necklace from her and then
Yes.
figuring out what planet they were from.
That was awesome.
That was pretty cool. I liked Vader's helmet falling through the dyad and revealing the location.
Yes.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, man, like the dyad fights or force fights were really dope. I was into it for sure. Sure, and like you said, like the Rey Kylo stuff is the best, really the best part of all of it. And
Yeah.
what really the only thing I can take away from it. Um, I think overall, I guess I'm pretty happy with how it all turned out, and just in the context of Rey and Kylo, except for the kiss. I think that should have just been completely nixed. I don't know why they had to kiss. It's stupid. Like I
Yeah.
don't mind. Well, I'm still getting ahead of myself, but I also really wanted Ben to have more to do in the final battle instead of just get thrown into the pit
Yeah.
immediately
That
and then
was.
and then crawl out just to save Rey.
Oh God, I hated that.
Which, and if you go off of that, why did he have to die from that? Like why? Like Rey didn't die from any of her force healing, but
Well,
Ben just like immediately passed out or something, right? Like what? And then why didn't
yeah.
Rey save him? Rey could
Well,
have been like, "Oh, here, have some of this back. I don't need all of it."
in my mind, the
You know
way
what I mean?
I agree. No, I do, and I've thought about it, and
Like, what the fuck?
I think the whole thing is like Rey literally died to defeat Palpatine. So then Kylo, with that, Kylo had gotten his life essence drained, pretty much like in my mind, headcanon, 75%, and then he got tossed into a pit. And then
God
like
damn it.
that 25% of him was like, let's climb out of here. And he saw dead Rey and was like, oh shit. And then he made
Yeah.
the choice to save her. And it's I think it's one of those things where, to me, I might get flack for this, but it's kind of like accepting that Vader is Luke's father. It's like, really, I fucking hate this, but at the same time, I'm like, I get it. That makes sense. To me, it is, because it's like she didn't have any. She was dead. He barely had any health. He made a sacrifice. He made that decision. Like, look,
So she was dead. How did that even work?
Well, that's the other plot hole of the film, is how does he know how to do that? And but in my mind, it kind of ties in everything with the ridiculousness of this whole explanation for them. Is like, oh, they're a dyad. Oh, she downloaded his powers from his mind when he breached her on Starkiller Base. Blah 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 blah. You know, it's like, oh no, he just knew how to do that because that's something they know how to do, because they're the two most powerful beings in a long ass time. You know, in the Force.
Man,
It's
you know
ridiculous.
what would have been kind of like, emotional and like cool,
What's
is
that?
if Ben had stuck around for the final battle, and like he was there with Rey deflecting the lightning back, right?
Yeah.
And like he makes a sacrifice play, and he ends up like dying, and there's no death fake out with Rey at all, but he's like on the verge of death, and he's he's talking to Rey, and he's like, thank you, like whatever, don't kiss, but have them like have a moment together, and then have Rey like try to force heal him, but that's when Ben like disappears because he's at peace. You know what I mean?
That would have been cool.
You know what I mean? Like, be like, I don't need this, Rey, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. They didn't like.
That would have been like, she could have tried and been like, no, Ben, I can save you or something. And he's like, no, I'm good.
Well, that's the thing.
You know, more dramatic than that,
Yes.
obviously, but
No, but you're right, because they didn't take a moment to like really pause on what was happening. They were just like, oh yeah,
instead
yeah.
they kissed.
They
Smoochy smooch.
which like
Little.
I was cool with, because it was like, not that I'm a Raylo shipper, but I'm like, I can see
A Raylo stripper.
I can see their argument. Like, I can see why there's possible undertones of them being kind of into each other. Like, I get it, you know, she was alone, he felt alone, they bonded together, and if you're going to justify it with this whole dyad thing, which, by the way, I think JJ set up from the beginning, and I think Rian Johnson continued with the whole darkness rises, light to meet it thing. Like, they were going with something. I was cool with that. That was the number one thing.
That thing's stupid to me. I don't get the whole darkness rises and light rises to meet it thing.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I think that's lame. I wasn't into it.
No, I mean, I understand.
Because then why didn't, like, what did bringing balance to the Force actually mean? And then what was Anakin's sacrifice for? It comes back all the way back around to that.
Fuck, hold on.
I'm sorry.
No, you're right. No, you're right. I have to pee super bad.
Oh no, go pee.
I'm gonna pause it for a moment. Can you keep
Yeah, dude.
talking and entertain everybody if anyone's watching? and I'll be right back. And
Yeah,
hold that thought.
do what you gotta
Hold
do.
that thought. We're gonna come back to it.
Yeah. Oh, he's gonna make a good pee-pee. I hope he has more. I hope he doesn't fall in. Yeah, there's a lot of enemies right here. So you don't have to stay in here. You can peace. Basically, what you have to do now is explore the districts. So you're in the 2nd district right now. Go to the left, like jump down, and then go straight. Yes, turn right. And then, oh no, I'm sorry, go back out. I took you down the wrong. That goes into the Dalmatian house. You don't need to go in that part yet. Oh, you did, okay. So go down the left alley right there. And then that takes you to the 3rd district. And once you explore there a little bit, no, to the right. That way. through there and explore the 3rd district a little bit, and then kind of go back, and then you'll get more story stuff, right? And my girlfriend's playing Kingdom Hearts. Sierra. You know her name. I don't know why it's You're good. You're doing great. There's a lot of Shadow Heartless you have to find, I know. But, so I think the 3rd district is a dead end at this point. See if you can go through... I don't think you can go through those big double doors yet. There's Lady in the Tramp, though. I don't think you can go there either. You need the fire spell for that door. But basically, after you explore this area, you got to go all to the 1st district and see what's up there, right? Have you already talked to Sid?
I'm back.
Okay. You can't go. Oh, you're back? Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, thank you for talking and entertaining.
No, you're fine. I didn't do a good. I was helping Sierra with another Kingdom Heart.
No, I heard a little bit, and that's perfect.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah, you just have to go back for now, and then go explore the 1st district a bit more. You'll find Sid from Final Fantasy VII, and he'll hook you up. Okay. I'm sorry.
No, don't be. What were we saying? Something about Palpatine.
Well, just. Well, we.
Yeah.
Let me think. So. Okay, that's what we were talking about. The final battle, basically, which we jumped way ahead. I know.
It's just like the whole movie is literally to lead to that point. That's the thing. It's like this whole movie is just MacGuffin to MacGuffin to lead to this terrible fight scene.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I really wanted Ben to have more to do, and that scene, his death scene, could have been a bit more impactful, but they had to, nerf the impact by doing the kissy kiss. Which, here's another question I have about the final battle.
Yeah.
Palpatine wanted Rey to kill him so he could possess her body.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So why didn't he possess her body when he killed her, or when she killed him? Didn't he do exactly? Didn't she do exactly what he wanted him to do?
My justification is.
Oh God!
I know, and this is the thing: is that she didn't kill him the way that the ritual needed to be done, with like a lightsaber strike.
Like out of anger or something.
Yeah, and I think it had to be with a lightsaber, and it had to be a certain timing.
That's bullshit.
But it's also bullshit the fact that like he just decided to like she could block him with 2 lightsabers, and he decided to keep letting himself get shocked. I justify it as
he didn't stop his lightning. He just let himself.
The only thing I can think of is like, I don't know if you've ever accidentally like touched an electric fence or anything. It's like sometimes you can't let go because you just like your nerves or whatever the scientific reasoning is just cramp up.
Yeah, the current like kind of locks you in place. I've never actually touched one. Have you?
Yes, yeah, and it happened.
Holy shit! Oh no, are you okay?
I think so.
Oh no.
I was like,
funny.
I was in 6th grade. I remember.
Oh shit!
I didn't do it on purpose. I like thought it was like a normal wire, and then I touched it, and I was like,
I got you. It was like little Timmy on the fence in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I was good, but
that's good.
It was like definitely for like a second there. I was like, whoa, I can't open my hand. But
you couldn't feel your hand.
I couldn't open it. It was like stuck for a minute. So I get it, like, and that's my justification. I'm like, maybe he was just shocking himself so much he couldn't stop. I don't know.
Damn, I guess. But he's so powerful with the dark side.
I know.
Why would he be? I don't get it. I mean, I get. I do understand that she had to strike him down in like anger for the ritual to work, but it's still funny to me that he just killed him outright. And it still is just like, eh. Like, I don't know. Why did he try this with his son? Why did he go straight to his granddaughter?
The only thing I can think of is maybe his son didn't have any kind of force sensitivity, like skipped a generation.
That's stupid.
Well, that's the thing.
It didn't skip any generations in the Skywalker line.
Well, that's. I know. It
I'm
doesn't.
sorry.
No,
Why
dude.
didn't he go for his son?
I think, like.
And like, why wouldn't he? Would his son would have been alive during the Galactic Civil War?
Yeah. Yeah.
So right. So why didn't we get any of that?
Yeah.
Who's the mother?
Apparently, in the Phantom Menace, they show like scenes of where there's like some women like surrounding Chancellor or not Chancellor at the time, Senator Palpatine, and it's like, oh, one of them was the mother, and like he had to keep up his appearance, so he had a wife on the side. And I'm like, I guess so. I'll go with that. Like, show me that. But what are we really doing here? How are we doing this? What's going on?
Oh God.
I don't know.
Oh, it's so weird. It's so strange.
But I think it.
Well,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
okay. I have another question about the ritual itself. So,
Sure.
does this mean that? I mean, is this just the Sith way now? Does this completely rewrite the whole Sith lore, and that they've just basically been, um, in performing this ritual so that the Sith is just one person this whole time? Like, is Palpatine like ancient? You know what I mean? Like, has that just been what they've been doing for thousands of generations?
I don't.
Is that the Sith now? Then what is that? What the point of the Rule of Two is?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I
Which
don't.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like the Rule of Two outside of the context of the Galactic Civil War. I think there's no place for the Rule of Two anymore after, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Well,
It's like,
that's
why limit
yeah.
yourself? I don't know. I wasn't always a huge fan of that. But
I guess that's the thing. It's like the apprentice was always meant to consume the soul of the master.
yeah, is that what they're trying to say? Is
Yeah,
that what it is?
that's how I'm taking it. That's the only thing that makes sense. If like
Man, that's some bullshit.
it's like I hated it, but at the same time I'm like, that's kind of cool, I guess, with the rule of two. But it doesn't make sense to the rule of two. Like that wasn't the intention of it. It was to limit power so no one overthrew each other. And it's like, why are we? Why? If it's gonna be something where it's a ritual, like why are we talking about this now? I
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was supposed to be
Yeah.
secret. But then how did the apprentices find out? I guess Palpatine found out because he already killed Plagueis and learned all the secrets about immortality anyway. But
Mm-hmm.
but then that doesn't make sense. Like why would you keep that from? I don't know. I don't know. The whole thing is just it just. I'm getting to the point where I'm like, dude, I don't know how much more we can talk about this movie without talking about the fact that we can't review it as contextual to the whole thing. It's like literally its own film on its own.
Yeah. And that's how I have to view it. And like I
Yeah,
was saying earlier, like it breaks everything about all the other films. You
yeah,
have to kind of look at, because in a vacuum, like, it's kind of fun. Like, you get more enjoyment if you
yeah.
just see it that way.
Agreed.
Um, but that's not the point of this stream, is it? We have to pick it the hell apart as Star Wars fans.
We do. I don't even.
Because, oh god. Okay, so what was I talking about? The ritual. Okay, fine. Yeah. Well, okay. So we're working our way backwards now, because didn't Palpatine want Rey killed? Did he not want her killed? Right? I didn't understand some of that, because, and I'm being completely honest, like, sometimes he wanted her dead. He told Kylo, kill the girl or something, right? But then
Yeah.
the next minute he's like, she's instrumental in my plan to rule the universe by making her Empress Palpatine. Like, what? What?
I,
I need a drink of water. Sorry.
take your time. I'll comment on that. I think. I
My
mean,
mouth is getting dry. But
either.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, it's either
I didn't get it. Sorry, go on.
no. I'm there with you. It's either like one, it's all complete bullshit, or two, it's like, well, I guess Palpatine's manipulating Kylo and telling him what he needs to hear in order to do what he needs him to do, and
Palpatine's behind all.
exactly. And I'm like, okay, so I don't really know if I know the truth because Palpatine's always been scheming since day one. So
Yeah,
I've
but like,
rolled with it.
what if Kylo like just happened to actually kill Rey? Like, whoopsie.
He couldn't though
Then
at
I
this
guess
point.
then I guess he would have had Kylo as his like thing. I don't know,
Well, it
man.
couldn't happen. Like there was no way of it because like the whole setup from the last two movies is that like no matter what happens, they're gonna end up being together in some capacity, whether it be like Raylo kissing or it's
Ew.
them teaming up together. Like we literally have been shown throughout this franchise so far that
Mm-hmm.
the bond between them is something that can't be unmatched. Like they took
Sure.
down Snoke and his guards, and it was like,
Yeah.
dude, and that was the thing that made me the happiest about this movie is like at least they followed through with that. Like they
Mm-hmm.
abandoned everything else,
Yep.
everything else from all these films. At least these two characters managed to have some kind of soul bond,
Yeah, for sure.
but it still doesn't justify the film. It still makes it a complete, just I
Yeah,
don't even know. I
I know.
well, what's after all this? Like they learn that they need to go to Kajimi to get C-3PO's brain rewired, which again, he should have just remained unwired. Oh, another thing we didn't even mention: if Chewie was alive a second later, how come Rey didn't detect his energy and his life force on the ship? Oh,
Yeah,
it just
exactly.
oh God, Ben, it's just
Exactly.
it's
It
all
all
broken.
crumbles in on itself.
Yeah,
How could C-3PO translate a language in his memory bank after his memory bank was wiped? You know what I mean? Think about it. If they had to wipe it, because they didn't have the dagger, it was still with Chewie at that time. So it's not like he was reading it after his memory was wiped.
oh
So
God,
how did he read some? How did he translate something in his memory bank after they wiped
wiped
it?
it. And
You know
again,
what I mean?
why did the dagger have the exact location for her to go to? How did she know how to stand on that wreckage and
Oh my God! Don't
just
even get me started on the dagger.
the whole
That's
thing?
probably my one of my least favorite things. Is it is so stupid.
It
It's an
doesn't even
ancient
look like a
dagger, right?
dagger.
And it's like it doesn't even look like it. It's like that was the stupidest part of the movie, I think, where she like just pulls it out, on that perfect spot on the beach or whatever, and just happens to like. How does that even work? Who would have thought of that? That is just the dumbest thing. Why didn't just you could just easily write it to be like the force is pulling me
The
to this one
force,
location. You
yeah.
don't have to write it into the dagger because it's the dumbest thing ever. It makes no logical sense. How does it line up to the exact wreckage of where it's going to be there? I mean, it's in an ocean. Do they not know how erosion works over 30 years? And
I
how was she? If she was 1 foot off, it would have pointed her into the wrong section of the shit. You know what I mean?
the only thing I can think
It
of
is.
is like she
Oh, oh no.
well she lined it up like she saw the top part and she lined it up, and so I guess like worst case, let's say she was off a couple like yards or whatever, she would have been like, oh, there's the top section which kind of looks spiky, let's match that up. Like she would have had a hunch in my opinion,
But the
but
thing is the size of a moon.
that's
Like
the
it could
thing,
literally be
it's
pointing anywhere.
it
You
still
know what I mean?
doesn't, yeah, and it still doesn't justify and explain why was this dagger made if it's ancient, if the Death Star wreckage is fresh.
Exactly.
It just
Fresh.
makes no sense. It
It's
doesn't.
baby fresh. And why did she have to like take one of those shitty speeders across the water? They have spaceships, dude. They have the Falcon. She can just like drop out of it. They can just hover. You know what I mean? Why'd they have to take the shitty boat?
I don't know. It's like a lot.
You know why? Because of the script. Because they were like, we have to have some reason for Rey to go alone. How do we do that? Make it to where the storm is too like powerful for them all to go, so she goes on her own. But sir, can't they just like hover over it with the Falcon? Fuck off! Get off my back about this shit.
It's so bad.
It's
It's
rough, dude. It's
like
it's like really juvenile. A lot of the shit, you know.
it's like uh, I've talked about it with some people, and it's funny because one of them is like a diehard like Star Wars fan. He's just like, I will justify this
Uh
and back this up because it's such a good film for Star Wars fans. And I'm like, yeah,
oh. Oh
no,
no.
I get that, and I agree with that. It's like a good film for Star Wars fans, but it doesn't make sense in the context of anything that's happened before it. And for that reason, at some point, the veil of being a Star Wars fan has to fade back and peel back and be like, look, this this is a film we need to analyze, because the whole thing that made us like Star Wars from the beginning was it was damn good filmmaking, damn good storytelling, and it happened to be something that we're into nerdily. That's not even a really word, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I
And
feel you.
this trilogy is like all the nerdily aspects stripped away from the things that made it good.
Yeah.
You know, there's no storytelling, there's no consistency, there's no world building properly. It's just literally like people who had no idea what Star Wars was about decided to make Star Wars, and were,
Yeah. Sure.
you know, and saw it at face value. And
Hmm.
that's the thing I need to add. Like, I'm gonna get flack for this, but
Uh
I need to praise Ryan Johnson for that because he understood Star Wars, and he decided to turn it around to give us something new. Like,
oh.
JJ would have just given us a retread of the original trilogy. Snoke would have
Yeah.
just been the new Palpatine. He would have killed him. It would have been a similar redemption arc, and that would have been that. But like for that reason, I have to say like JJ got to do his original ideas. He just threw them in a way that makes everything else make no sense, and
Yeah.
it's evident. And now I'm seeing it, and I'm like, dude, this trilogy sucked. Like, let Johnson have done the whole thing, or at least let there have been like Colin Trevorrow's version, dude. It's just like
Yeah.
there need like if you're gonna do all this shit that people hate, go with it, roll with it, and you know like don't go back to what you had wanted to do originally because first off, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I think that's one thing I want to talk about. Like this trilogy was doomed from the beginning. Like yes, we had a decent film with Force Awakens. I like that film a lot, but
Yeah.
JJ set it up for failure from the beginning. He really did. It
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'd go that far because I do agree. Like I get what Ryan was trying to do, and I wanted someone to do, you know, basically what he was doing, but with a different execution.
agreed, agreed,
I
agreed.
think because I like I don't know. I think because that I like that kind of stuff where you set something up that's familiar, only to like completely tear it down or go the other way in the next movie, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
and I just don't think Jedi did it the right way, you know.
No,
Um,
I agree. It should have been executed better.
and but I do feel yeah, like I really do. But I don't know if I wouldn't call it failure from the beginning, because I do think there was, and you know, and it's like we're gonna have a talk where what would we have done
Yeah.
going from the fort like if the Force Awakens had come out and was a success, and then they tapped you and me to do the Last Jedi, basically. Like
Well,
there's ways it could have worked, I think, and I have ideas that we'll get to eventually, but like it, there's so many different ways to tell a story,
that's the
right?
thing. You're
And
right.
they messed up. They didn't do the right way, in my
Well,
opinion.
I'm sorry. Let me backtrack a little bit. You're right.
Yeah, go
I
for it.
I don't think that it was doomed from the beginning. I just think that if I have a strong hunch now that I've seen how it ended that JJ was planning on setting up something very safe, very predictable, and just a retreading of the original. I
I
mean,
do. I do agree. Like, yes, like that's how he set the first movie up. But he did know that there was going to be other directors, like, and storytellers taking the reins, right?
But if
Um,
he knew that, then why did he not acknowledge any of this in the last act? It's just
well, because I think it's because he didn't expect to come back to nine for the first part,
true.
right? I think going off of just The Force Awakens, I think he set that up. You know, he made just the exact movie that the studio wanted because it's a pretty vanilla setup
Hmm.
and it's something that has had a lot of potential for a bunch of different storytellers. He didn't
Hmm.
expect to come back to it, right?
True.
Um, from the beginning, I think he knew that that was all he was in for. But you have The Last Jedi happen, and it's so divisive and poorly done. And I think he knew it was poorly done, considering how The Rise of Skywalker turned out. So, you know what I mean? Because it
Yeah.
just going off of how much retconning he did of Last Jedi stuff. Um, so I think that, you know, once he got shanghaied into doing episode nine, he just like I think he just kind of crapped his pants on everything because he just,
Yeah.
well, no, just because of how much he had to deal with. Because he not only had to deal
Yes.
with the fallout for Last Jedi, he had to somehow figure out an ending to a franchise that he didn't expect to come back to.
Yeah.
He had to find a way to continue the story after Ryan basically ended it his own way.
Yeah.
And he also had to account for Carrie Fisher's death.
Well,
Which is its own thing, right? Because in
yeah.
that video, I think you showed me that Midnight's Edge video where they talk about how Carrie Fisher passed away, you know, a year before Last Jedi even came out. So they could have like done some kind of story tweaks to Last Jedi, but like, well, I don't know. That's kind of its own thing, and I'm
No,
not gonna
no.
like pretend to know what the right thing to do is. But
We should
the
talk about
fact
it.
that the fact of the matter is that like Ryan had a whole year after Carrie passed away, right?
Yeah.
And he left her, you know, basically alive and well at the end of Last Jedi, which is fine, but like I don't know uh what's his name, what JJ was kind of thinking where like he didn't have I don't know, like he had to do all this crazy stuff, you know, to get the saga ended the way he wanted, get it
Yeah.
to continue on from Last Jedi, but also account for Leia being alive in the story,
Well,
right?
I
It's
think
like
this is a good.
all this crazy stuff.
Yes, and I think this is a good time to segue into talking about like what we would have done and whatnot for a minute here because
Hmm.
that's a big thing. That okay, look, I think I'm gonna talk for a moment about Trevorrow's script
Sure.
because I think I wasn't there behind the scenes, but I could assume that one of the main reasons for them having an issue with him creatively apparently is that Leia's character was heavily involved in the script of Duel of the Fates, and
Yes.
I don't I don't
Which
think
that was reported on a long
a
time ago,
long time ago. Yes,
but
yeah,
way before even I think Trevorrow was even fired. I think they like once Carrie had even before Last Jedi came out. I think when Carrie passed away,
mm,
um, there was reports like from like Hollywood saying that like her footage or thing's not going to be altered in the Last Jedi,
right.
but going forward will be a problem because as it stands, she has a significant role to play in nine, right?
Yes, yes.
So yeah, for sure, I think that lends more validity to the fact that Trevorrow's script leaked is legit.
No, I think I saw somewhere too that said like his production company or someone involved closely with him said that yeah, no, that's real. But um,
Yeah.
even if it's not, it's it in my mind it is, dude, because like in my mind it all makes sense because, he wanted her heavily involved in his script. I don't think he was willing to budge with it. In my mind, I think he said something like, "Hey, Ryan, can you just change the ending of your film just like you did?" Apparently, I think you might know this. If you don't, let me learn you something. But apparently, Johnson asked JJ to alter the ending of his film so that
Yes,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
exactly.
So why didn't
I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah? So why didn't Trevorrow do that for Johnson? And what the fuck? Like let's take it like a little more micro of analysis here.
Oh
What the
yeah,
fuck is Kathleen Kennedy thinking to be like, oh, I don't know, Carrie's dead now. We should probably try to find a way to alter this, but no, I have this vision in mind and this agenda and all this stuff, so I don't want to change it. And it would be a lot easier to just have the whole brand new script that JJ's working on to be something that molds after this whole fact of keeping her alive. Like, no, like you had an opportunity to have Luke live and Leia die. You literally, or if you want to kill off Luke, fine. You could have had Leia die. She could have never recovered from the Mary Poppins scene. She could have just,
yeah,
you know,
exactly. Yeah, I think that was. I mean, overall, I don't think Kathleen has done a great job at all.
no.
Um, Even going outside of this trilogy, looking at all the creative talent that she's had, that she's hired and fired immediately. I
Yes.
mean, let's think about it. It's that Gareth Edwards got edged out of Rogue One at the end of it. He still has his name on it, but that film was heavily redone, as we
Yeah.
all know.
Yeah.
Um, the Solo debacle of hiring Phil Lord and Chris Miller only to fire them
Yeah.
and bring on Ron Howard, right?
Hmm.
And then going to other projects, hiring Ryan Johnson to do his own trilogy before Last Jedi even came out, before even getting the response from that film.
Yeah.
Hiring the Game of Thrones guys only to fire them. Josh Trank, hiring him and firing him, and then James Mangold, I think, was hired at a point and then forgotten about. It's like, whatever you think about the movies, I have severe doubt in her ability to manage stuff like that. You
She's
know what I mean?
no.
It's
Yeah.
it's just really strange to hear about all this director drama and behind the scenes stuff, and it's like, what is going on back there? Because you're right. I
Yeah.
think going back into the sequel trilogy, after Carrie passed, there was some serious work that needed to be done if you're going to continue the movies and do it respectfully in a way that the story works and with how her legacy plays out. You know what I mean?
Well, that was the thing. Like the first thing I said after I left the Last Jedi, besides other things, was,
The
what the hell are they gonna do now that they kept Leia alive?
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, I before they announced that she was going to be in 9 with reused footage, I just figured that they were going to do. Have you seen Star Trek Beyond? It's the
Yes,
third
yes,
Star
yes,
Trek film. So
yes.
that's the one where it came out after Leonard Nimoy passed away, right?
Right, right.
And in the movie, in the story of the movie, he plays Spock Prime in the movie, right? And in the context of the movie, he dies. The character does.
Hmm.
And they do this real touching tribute to him, right? Where new Spock, what's his name, Zachary Quinto,
Hmm.
is struggling with the fact that his older self has passed away, and then he finds a photo of the old crew from the Prime universe, and it's really touching.
Yes.
And it's looking at that movie, there's ways to incorporate a real life passing and intertwine it with the character passing and make it respectful and touching. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
No, I agree.
And before they said that they were going to use Leia footage, I figured they would do something like that, something meaningful and heartfelt that affects not only the story but is touching on a meta level too. You know what I mean?
Well, I
But I don't know. I really there were some times I rolled with the reused footage, but there were other times when I really just didn't. You know what I mean? It was
yeah.
really awkward at some times, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know why they were so
I th-
gung ho about just reusing footage to make the film work. You know what I mean?
well, I guess
I think that was mishandled personally.
in JJ's defense, I think he had no choice.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think
Yeah,
it's on JJ. I think
yeah,
it was probably a Kathleen push,
yeah, yeah.
right?
It's just,
And
yeah,
especially if I think another problem I have with it is she dies in the movie anyway, in a really kind of unceremonious way, right? She's a silhouette that lays down on the ground to like vaguely reach out to her son's memory with the last of her force power. Like what? Like it doesn't make sense. And it's not super touching, and it's kind of like why go through all the trouble of reusing all this footage and digitally inserting it and everything only to have her die anyway, have her be the last legacy character to be killed off in your stupid trilogy.
we'll see. I I don't want to say I completely disagree, but I do disagree in one way because in my mind when I saw it, I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh wow, that's really beautiful. Like she did something similar to what Luke had done, where she like kind of force projected herself to be literally the only voice that could save her son. But I will say this: why didn't she do that earlier? Because Luke failed, Han died trying to do it. Why didn't she just try to maybe jump in sooner? But anyway, um, so you know she does her last ditch effort to try to reach out to Ben, and then she kind of like waits before completely passing to like go with him and guide him to the embodiment of the Force. I guess as a Force
Sure.
goes. So like for me, I was
There
like, that's touching,
I agree with you there. I think the idea behind it is neat.
but the
But
execution,
yeah, and I know I keep
yeah,
saying that, but like man, I feel like if she were living, then that definitely was probably what they were going to go for. Have her do the same thing as Luke did and do a force projection to talk to him and have that be the last of her life energy, but have like
yeah.
Carrie Fisher do the scene with Ben instead of Harrison Ford, right?
Well, interjection.
Because Carrie never got a scene with Adam Driver, which
No,
sucks, right?
no. Well, that's another. That's another thing. Interjection, real fast before I forget.
Yeah. Yeah, go for
Um,
it.
well, first thing, yeah, none of the original cast got a scene altogether either, and that drives me crazy.
I
Um,
know that pisses me off big time.
but the main thing is that I think um, with oh man, I actually lost my train of thought.
No, you're
Um,
good, man.
with Leia's character, I don't. I apparently like her brother had Carrie Fisher's brother had said like, oh, the whole meaning of the Last Jedi was that like Leia was gonna be the last Jedi in Episode 9. Did you see that?
I think I heard something about that. That sounds familiar.
So it's like,
Yeah.
how are you saying that? And then like I guess Colin Trevorrow's script kind of hints at that, but not really. Like it just says that Leia was gonna be a prominent role in the story, but like for
Yeah.
again, I can't say that that's real or not. So
Yeah, I
whatever.
know what you mean. I know
But
what you mean.
it's just like the
Well,
information doesn't add up. It's just like the whole thing just doesn't add up.
yeah. Well, again, it goes off of how, little planning there was and mismanagement,
Yeah.
in my opinion, because clear, and that's the main thing is clearly no one was on the same page at all with any of
No.
these,
No.
right? Everyone was fighting with each other for the ideas and visions between even Kathleen and JJ and Ryan, and it's like, my goodness. Um, and I guess going back to the death scene, I do agree with you. I like the idea again, I think that they would have wanted Carrie to be there to have a scene with Adam to make it hit home more.
Yeah.
But the execution of it being like a vague memory grab scene instead, but also the execution that didn't sit well with me was how one, it was like a silhouette that you could tell was like, a weird body double that they just had
Oh
to get around,
yeah.
which I get, but also it kind of took me out of it too. Like it
Yeah.
didn't, but also the whole time Maz Kanata is talking over it, explaining what's like happening. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
that lessened it for me too. So like that's what I mean when the death scene, that part I think was weakened by everything around it.
I
Like
understand. Yeah.
yes, like the idea is totally there, and I definitely agree with you that it definitely is a touching thing. But again, with the execution, it's like, man, it's like there wasn't a different way to do it, and even it's like it's kind of like that old saying where just because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
Yes. Agreed.
Like just because you can use footage of her doesn't mean that that's the way to do it. I don't know. I have really mixed feelings because I love
Yeah.
seeing Carrie. Like, and I wish she was still with us, but like, I don't know that there was just parts of those scenes I was okay with, some parts I wasn't.
No, I
And again,
understand.
it just goes back to kind of the initial thought of like, I think they didn't do any of these legacy characters justice, Leia included. Like,
Y-
and it's just heartbreaking. Like it just sucks, man. Like it's like you guys.
Would you want to? Do you want to try to? Oh, can you hear me? Hello. Oh, hello. Oh, it says he's typing. I can hear you. I can't hear you. It like sound like static and all of a sudden disconnected. Oh,
Can you hear me now?
yes, I hear you. You're good.
Okay. Okay. How about now?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay. I think my headset's kind of fucked up because if I twist it in a certain way, you lose me.
Yeah,
But if I turn it back,
mine does that too.
yeah, it must be a weird connection. But
Damn
um,
technology.
anyway, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
No, no, no.
Go
You're good.
ahead.
I was just gonna say, do you want to like speed speed through the end of this and then get into like what we would have done because I feel like there's so much to be said and like I don't know what else to say about this movie other than literally like every scene bothers me kind of.
Oh,
Like
buddy.
what's next? Like like
Yeah.
the Death
Well,
Star and then Hans.
I'll I'll go ahead and say this real quick. I think let's go ahead. Let's wrap up thoughts about Rise of Skywalker,
Yeah.
and then I'd say let's table the what we'd have done stuff for another day
Okay.
because I have a few more things to say about Rise of Skywalker, and I want to be able to have as much time as possible for you and me like riffing off each other about what could have been, right?
Okay, that's fair. Good point.
Um,
Good point.
I think it deserves kind of its own whole set,
It
right?
probably
Because
does.
I have ideas, you have ideas. Like I
Yeah.
think it's we got a lot we can say, but going off of Rise of Skywalker to kind of like you know move towards the end of that here. I know it's weird because we started at the beginning of the movie and then we jumped to the end and like
It,
worked our way backwards, but like let me think. Sorry, I had to get another
you're good.
sip of water.
You're
But
good.
let me think. I mean, what else is there to say about it? I mean,
That's the thing. I don't know. Like, it's
ooh, I have a question for you.
sure,
What
sure.
did you think about Chewie getting the medal?
Um, at first, I was just kind of like, is that supposed to be because he didn't get the medal in the original film? And I was just like, but why? And it didn't bother me in a way that it was negative or positive. It was kind of like, why? But
Yeah, yeah.
I, I, I get, I guess I get why he did it, but it's just like stupid.
Yeah, I'm like I'm half and half because the way
Yeah.
I see it, like it is kind of like, what's the word? It's kind of pandering and it's like really
Yeah.
wink wink and obvious what they're doing.
Yeah.
But that was one instance where I feel like, see, and the way I interpreted it was that that medal was Han's medal, right?
Yes, same.
That he received. And like in Maz Kanata, when she handed it to Chewie, was saying Leia would have wanted you to have this or something. So it's kind of like,
Yes.
it kind of has a couple layers to it where it's like, yes, he's getting the medal he never got, and there's like fan servicey, but like it's also sweet in that
Yeah.
he's getting a part of Han back. You know what I mean?
That's you're
Because
right. Yeah.
because I'll say this, I'll go ahead and say it. Overall, I think Chewie was really nerfed in this in all three of these movies. I think he
Yeah.
I don't think he talk about. I mean, I know we talked about them not doing justice to the legacy characters, but
Yeah.
I think Chewie got the shaft too. I wasn't pleased with how he was handled at all in any of the movies.
Yeah.
But I did like, because I mean it's like he just has to watch all of his friends be failures and die and get really sad. Like I got really sad when he uh what's it called, when he got told that Leia passed away. He just like it
Oh,
was
that was
really
emotional.
sad. I was like, God, that's so rough because he's had such a
Yes.
sad few years.
Yeah.
Like, come
That.
on, man. Like he just like collapsed. It's like, God damn, like it kind of felt like that was what we were doing as fans of Star Wars.
Yeah, dude, that moment got me heavy.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, Chewie, like we're with you, man. Like everyone's dead and like they're doing bad stuff to these characters.
No, I'm there with you.
Like I'm with you, dude. So like, um, so yeah. But that being said, I was okay. Like I've talked to a lot of people who thought the metal scene was stupid, but I kind of like I got it. Like I was like, okay,
Yes.
like it's kind of sweet what they're doing, right?
Yes, exactly.
Um, but yeah, there. So there's that. Um, God, what else happened in this crazy movie? I didn't like that he was thought to be dead. Um, in that weird transport scene, right?
It.
Where
Yeah.
like Ray like supposedly killed him, but then he turned out to be alive anyway. That was stupid. It's like, why even? What's the point? It's like it's going back to the fake out thing that Ryan did. It's like, did he do that part?
Exactly. That's where I was like, this feels like a Johnson movie, but not as good. But like, I don't,
Yeah,
I don't, I don't think I would have completely dismissed it if they had just given us more time between scenes to like really think about what happened. But
yeah,
I could suspend disbelief with the whole, again, why couldn't Ray have detected that he was alive or dead? But
yeah, exactly.
I'll suspend that for a minute if you give us more time to
Yeah,
analyze it. But
yeah, exactly.
you
I
know,
didn't. If they were really gonna roll with that, then they shouldn't have shown us, the audience, immediately after that he was okay, but not
exactly,
reveal it to the characters in the movie. You know what I mean? It's like,
exactly.
what? Like, come on.
Though, yeah, and I don't know. It's like one of those things where like as much as JJ's like, hey, I'm trying not to be the Last Jedi, he's at the same time like, hey, I'm gonna make the Last Jedi again with the whole let me subvert expectations. It's like a
Yeah,
giant,
yeah,
it's just giant like it's a giant pissing match between these two directors. I felt like,
exactly. And that it's ridiculous. It is. That's exactly what it is. A pissing match.
and I don't even remember what else happens. It's like we talked about it. The ending's
Well,
ridiculous.
let me think.
There's some cool stuff with um well, Zori and Poe have dialogue that I didn't mind. Like it was cool.
Oh, I didn't like that. I didn't like Zori. God, you had to bring up Zori.
Yeah.
God damn it. Here's the thing. I like Carrie Russell a lot. I think she's great.
Mhm.
Um, I just didn't get she's immediately hostile towards Poe, right?
Yeah.
And like is trying to kill him, but then they have like one talk and then she like gives him everything he needs. It was just too quick to me. I think one of the problems I had with the movie overall was it introduced way too many new characters.
Yeah.
Um, in so little time. It's like too little, too late kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Because like obviously there's history with Poe, which okay, let's for a second, real quick. I'm gonna kind of go on a tangent here.
yeah, yeah.
I don't like Poe's new backstory. For one, it's racist. Why does a Hispanic guy have to be a drug runner? Like, what's up with that?
I didn't even think
Like,
of that. Yeah.
are you kidding me? The only Latino in the Star Wars universe and he's a drug runner? Come on. Like, fuck off. I didn't
Yeah.
like that. That was stupid. Why can't, like, that was never part of his backstory. He was always, like, from what I understood in the comics and, like, the movies, he was just always, like, a resistance pilot.
Yeah.
He was really
yeah.
good. Why do you have to run drugs? Why you gotta be so racist? You piece of shit filmmakers.
Well,
I didn't
Finn-
like that. I
Finn-
thought that was stupid. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit,
No,
but
no,
also,
you're good.
but also, it's like, come on. It's like he's my only Hispanic in the Star Wars realm, and he has to be a drug guy. Come on.
And hey, Finn was a janitor.
That's true. That's true. Oh my god.
They just want white
they-
women to
yeah.
be like the hero.
Are
But
they white girl booty hunters in a
they-
certain way?
they're bad white girl booty hunters. They're not
Yeah,
the good
they're
ones.
bad.
They
Sorry,
have
that's
bad
a- that's a
intentions.
different thing. It's
Yeah,
an
no,
insult
you're
kind of
good.
thing. But
No,
so yeah, so
Yeah.
that whole thing, I was really bummed by. Kind of bringing it back. It's like, great, Poe was a drug runner. What does that add to his character? What does that attach Zori to? Because she's like, they have a history, but
Yeah.
she's like really wish-washy on whether she's going to help him or not. And it's like, and also you just get this idea of this brand new character being introduced at the very end of the saga for no reason.
she was
and it's
literally a MacGuffin.
I didn't like that. What I did like, I liked the planet because I really liked the opening scene on the planet where they're sneaking around while the First Order troopers are like snatching kids and shit. Like that
Yeah.
was eerie
That's
and
cool.
like really neat. Like I liked that. I
Yeah.
really did. Everything else about that sucked except Babu Freak. He was great. I like Babu Freak.
Babu, he was great. Yeah.
Hey.
Hey. Yeah, that's the thing. It's
But,
like they throw in these.
yeah. Sorry, go on.
No. I was just gonna say, they throw in these like cool little characters or like these cool little moments to like make up for like this stinking pile of shit around it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, exactly. It's like I just don't get that. And then like somehow she was able to make it off Kimji to be at the final battle, even though
Which-
she gave Poe her only way of passage off the planet. So how did she get off at all before it was destroyed by the Star Destroyer?
another thing.
You know what I
Like,
mean?
Yes, and the more I talk about it, the more I'm like nothing in this movie adds up within the context of this movie either. Like,
Yeah.
why was Lando able to rally up all these people and it, like, dude, I don't know if I talked about this before, but I've been meaning to talk about it. Where it's like the Star War in this whole movie was
Yeah.
terrible. It was in a planet's atmosphere, and it wasn't even like anything. We didn't even really see it. Like,
Yeah.
at least in Return of the Jedi, we had like, two
Yeah.
things going on, and in this,
Exactly.
it's like barely one. It, like the whole
Yeah.
movie, excuse me, was so forced and so rushed, and it just like
Yeah.
there was no time to even give us any kind of feeling. The whole movie made you so emotionally, I don't even want to say drained, because you didn't even feel anything. It was just
Yeah.
like emotionally
numb.
numb. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't even know what else to talk about with the scenes in this movie. I just feel like it went
Yeah, dog.
nowhere and everywhere all at once to just lead us to this ending that ended up being the same ending we already had 40 years ago, and
Yeah.
it's like, what was the point? And a big cardinal sin in my mind is there was no Anakin at all.
Right. Exactly. Well, you heard his voice.
Yeah, but in the last moment of the last film, it's like,
Yeah, I know.
I don't.
I agree. He should have been more present. They could have. What I would have really liked is if not only Luke and Leia were ghosts at the end on Tatooine, but we had Anakin and Ben, like the whole Skywalker lineage.
Yeah.
He didn't even throw Padme. Well, Padme wasn't a Force user, so never mind. But Luke, Leia, Anakin, and Ben, like the Skywalker lineage. Like, why not have them all there?
That did not make any sense to me. I still don't have an understanding of that. Like everything else, I can kind of justify in my mind in some stupid half-assed way, but like that makes no sense. That's another opportunity that JJ missed, in my opinion.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
but that seems so forced and so deliberate. That's like, how did you miss that?
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know, man.
Um, yeah, dude. God, I don't know what else there is to talk about yet either.
Well, like
I'm being honest.
you're good. It's just like there's some like I don't know, but like there was a rumor that came out. I don't remember, maybe like 2 weeks ago, that said like the JJ cut of the film and how JJ Abrams was not prepared for the theatrical release we got, and that wasn't what he wanted, and he's just as shocked as you are. I don't know if you heard any of that.
I did hear some of that. Yeah, I did. That's right. Yeah, I did. And I don't know about. I mean, I'm at this point, I'm kind of pretty inclined to believe a lot of these rumors because of how the leaks turned out and how all that turned out to be true, basically.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I know that like a lot of people are just like stirring stuff up to get more shit about this movie out there. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, it's
I
tough.
got to be careful, but at the
Yeah,
same time, it's like yeah, it's probably true
that's the thing.
because
It's yeah.
they haven't done nearly as much press for this movie as they have with others. I've kind of noted. I don't know. It may just be me not seeing all the videos, but like I don't know. It doesn't seem like they've been as present
I agree.
before and after, and it may be because of JJ being displeased with the final product. I don't know. I mean,
What?
I know that it also isn't getting good critical reviews either, so
No,
that's reason for them to stay quiet about stuff.
but
But
still.
but yeah, but still, it's just weird. It's like I keep saying, in 10 years or so, I'm gonna be real excited when the documentary about all this comes out,
Oh
revealing
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
You know,
I hope that comes out.
I do too, man. I really do. It's gonna be this all has been so interesting to me. But but yeah, dude, Rise of Skywalker.
I
Like if you turn your brain off and disconnect it from everything else, I think it's pretty fun. Like it's still space wizards and you know lasers and crazy stuff, but yeah, attached to the Star Wars lore and brand, it falls apart big time. Like it's
agreed.
big time.
Yeah,
Like you know,
agreed.
yeah,
It's
it's
fun.
crazy.
At first too, I didn't even realize how much it falls apart until we start talking about it, and I'm like, ooh,
Yeah, I know.
there's so many things. And look,
And
like,
I say this as I look at my Rise of Skywalker Rey and Kylo Ren action figures I have on my desk.
oh, don't even get me started
I
on like,
just I just want to preface that yes, I'm, shitting on this movie, but I also bought the action figures.
well, I mean, another thing to talk about since we are analyzing this is, um, Captain Phasma, literally to sell action figures and a wasted character.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that's a trap I fell into. I don't know if I ever told
Oh, what?
anymore. If I ever
Okay.
told you, but before The Force Awakens came out, I was so hyped. I got a handful of the action figures, and one of them was Phasma because I was
Yes.
so hyped on Phasma. But
Yeah.
then the movie came out, and she turned out to be nothing, and I
Yes.
was so displeased. I was like, I bought an action figure for nothing.
No, yeah, you told me, and
And
that's
it's
the
like,
thing.
yeah, so it's like, so that one I did get rid of, but I got Ray and Kylo because at the end of the day, I like them both, and they
Yes.
were the best. They're the best part of the trilogy, so it's like, yeah, I'll put them on my desk. It's fun.
I know, I totally agree.
You know what I mean?
And that's
They're actually next to an Obi-Wan and Darth Maul figure.
nice. No, and dude, that's the thing. Like I want to hate on certain things, but I love Star Wars and I love this trilogy, and at the end of the day, it's like there are redeeming qualities, and I think there is still a story to be found when you sift through all of it. But for me, I just think that you know something went on with this film I don't know if the JJ cut exists. I don't know if politics were involved from upper management to try to make the best product possible. It
Hmm.
seems that way from what we're seeing, but that just goes to
Yeah.
show you that Disney had no idea how to handle the Star Wars brand. Lucasfilm had bad management with Kathleen, and the whole thing was a bunch of missed opportunities. And look, like, yeah, the original series was done movie to movie, director to director, but it was different. George had a plan. George had an overall vision in mind.
Yeah, he was still story master. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he changed stuff as he went, but he was still the one guy who was the master of it, right?
Yes,
For
exactly.
sure, 100%.
And it's like, look, and that's kind of where I was tying back to my whole thing about them being doomed from the beginning, where it's like, I don't think JJ should have been the story master. It should have been Filoni
I agree.
or Lucas or someone. But you know,
I agree.
they,
I think JJ's fine at directing, but yeah,
yeah,
they shouldn't have been a story master, I guess. You're right.
I just, it's all a shame, man, because they were trying to do, let's get the whole hot shot director who can reboot franchises on board because he did it with Star Trek, blah 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 blah,
Right.
and you know, there's a whole list of merits that he checks off to be validated for being the director of the new Star Wars series, but it it doesn't work. It doesn't do it enough for me. It
Yeah. Well, it's the writing for me. Like
yeah,
I'll stand, like I said, I'll stand by and say that I think he's a good director. Like I do like how he directs action, and
yes,
I think he's really good with actors too.
yes,
I think he was we owe a lot of him from, like, I guess, a casting the initial, you know, characters, and also like bringing out the actors like charm and like likability in them all. Because
I agree.
I still like, I like them all. I like Poe, I like Finn, I like Rey,
Yeah,
Kylo Ren. Like they're all really good and well acted characters. I just
yes,
think in given different arcs and circumstances and situations would have been more of a compelling thing because
yeah,
you know yeah, I think, this is a little bit kind of like going off again and unrelated, but um, as much as I like the characters, I feel like pretty much everyone except Rey and Kylo Ren were like dropped from like Last Jedi on, right?
100%.
Like they didn't have anything to do. Even like
No,
the quote unquote arcs that they went through in Last Jedi didn't amount to anything in the overarching story. Like it didn't matter. Like they didn't matter. And that's what another
yeah,
thing that's kind of heartbreaking. And even looking at just Rise of Skywalker, like what did they do? They were just a vessel, or they were just along for Rey's journey. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's
Right?
true.
Like Poe just like flew them places. He got shot once. What did he do? Well, I guess they wrote him to be the connection to Zori,
And
but
to become the
that
new,
wasn't necessary. I don't know. It's weird.
well, he became the new Leia, but like we kind of already had that set up in the Last Jedi.
Oh
So
yeah, that's true. I guess he did.
and then, but like
What did Finn end up with?
Finn,
He got the worst end of the
the
deal, man.
worst from the yeah, I know, dude. Like that was the whole reason. I think I said this to you in the last stream we did, where the whole thing that really drew me into this whole episode 7 and going forward thing was Finn's character. This whole idea of a non-white freaking stormtrooper who becomes aware that he's doing something that he
Yeah,
doesn't like, and then maybe he's a Jedi. I'm like, dude, you're checking off a whole list of things that I want to see. Let's go with this. And
yeah,
and then what did it end up being? It's just like a I don't know. I don't even know. It even JJ giving him force sensitivity didn't go anywhere in this film. It's like, dude,
yeah, exactly.
it just I agree with you. Like the characters were here to just be supporting MacGuffins in the MacGuffin quest for the main character. It's like
Yeah, they're accessories.
accessories.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm seeing what you're saying, and that's true.
yeah,
It's sad.
yeah. It is because like you look at the original trilogy and they work so well in tandem together. Like even though Han isn't force sensitive or anything, he had a lot. Well, he had he had a I guess he did have a he had more to do with than Finn for sure. I know he gets
Yeah,
captured, but he's the one who leads like the indoor charge and like he has his own arc and everything. And then Leia being the princess to general transition and everything. Um and her like I don't know, devotion and compassion kind of like lending itself to the story in meaningful ways. But like I don't know, man. It's these that's what bums me out. Not the most, I guess, but yeah, like you said, like characters being dropped, like Finn.
yeah.
It's bad. It's bad. These bears.
Yeah, it's just it's the biggest thing that I take away from all of this is that the whole concept of the trilogy, the plot of each movie, the characters in each film, the whole thing from start to finish is just missed opportunities.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe the whole thing in 2 words. Is just missed opportunities.
And just mismanagement, and I don't even have I don't even have words anymore at this point. Like this film
I know.
it didn't break me. It didn't like make me
Oh,
hate Star Wars or anything like that, but it definitely didn't fill any kind of void or any kind of answer I wanted. It just like I saw the film afterwards. I'm like, yeah, I already read all this on Reddit like 4 months ago. So
yeah, for sure.
and it was just like, damn, that was real. Okay, and if anything, like I should be remembering how I felt 4 months ago, and what I vaguely remember back then was just being like, no way, this can't be it. And
Yeah.
that's still how I am. I'm like, I'm in disbelief that it ended up getting to this point, but I'm also at the same time happy because we got a decent film in itself, but it just doesn't connect to anything, and it's just so all over the place and frantic and it's literally like this trilogy is gonna be an example in 10 years of mismanagement of Kathleen's legacy, of Disney's legacy, of Star Wars. It's gonna be um, a meta analyzation of these films in a way that they didn't intend for it to be. Like the legacy of these films is not going to be whatever the message is. I guess what Rey is a Palpatine. She overcomes her evil heritage and becomes a good guy. I don't know. It's mixed messages. I can't follow it, but it's going to now be the legacy of politics and mismanagement and all this stuff. So it's going to live on in like a notorious and infamous manner rather than something
Yeah.
positive. But you know,
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't think these will really stand the test of time like the
no,
other movies have. And it's kind of funny, even going back to the prequels, they're not great films. They're really not. But they've kind of had a resurgence in recent times, kind of because of the mismanagement of this trilogy.
mm-hmm.
But I think people have kind of looked back on them with fondness and saying like, yeah, they're poorly like written and acted, but like the imagination is there, and it's
Yes,
really like and the vision is there for sure. Like even though the films aren't good, I think they're still going to be remembered for the vision and imagination on display.
yeah,
Um,
100%.
I think, I mean, I guess I can say that this new trilogy will likely be remembered for positively for like maybe like Ray and Kylo, like and Adam Driver's performance and everything.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing it'll be remembered for is like mismanagement, like you said, or like,
Yeah.
you know, just poor connections to itself overall. And I don't think it'll be remembered as fondly, nearly as fondly as any of the other trilogies.
No.
And
Yeah.
it's a shame. It kind of is because
Yeah.
they really could have done something special, you know. And you know, I know. I think this will probably be a good spot to end it, so that when we pick back up, um, I can segue from that into what kind of we would have done, like to have seen, or like or done
Yeah.
ourselves if we, because you know, I mean, not to say that you know my ideas are going to be like golden, of course. Like I'm not a writer, I'm not trained in that kind of stuff, but like you know, I feel like I you know have some valid stuff to lend, especially after all three of these have now come out and seeing the mistakes they've made. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
And I think it'll
Yeah.
be fun to like riff and stuff too, and kind of like see what we like and don't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with you. I think my last closing statement for the whole thing is that
Yes.
I it's cool to know that like we pretty much agree on a majority of the things overall. You know,
Yes.
we have our individual opinions on parts of each of these films, which is great too. You know,
Yeah.
um, I think it's good to know that there's a healthy discussion going on with Star Wars, and you know, I want to say it's good to know that Disney did try to actually listen to the fans with this film, um, which is a huge plus. It's like, wow, okay, they're kind of saying, hey, we're sorry, we acknowledge that we didn't really listen to you guys with the last film, and we were trying to make a firmer stakes, but it is way too little too late, unfortunately.
Yeah. I was about to say I get yeah I feel you, but yeah I
Yeah.
agree. Too little, too late.
And I, I just, I, I don't know what else there is to say about it other than I would like to talk about um, what we would have done differently from, you know, both The Last Jedi going into this film, from the beginning of this whole series, and then also um, the other one that I can't think of right now. But we'll talk about that. And I think the only thing I wanted to end it with is to like, you know, at least with Colin, we didn't really get to finish it. I think before, like with Colin Trevorrow, if he was able to get the ending of The Last Jedi changed, if they had just let that happen, Trevorrow's thing would have made sense and would have worked out. Because I think he could have written Leia out of it in a way that would have made sense some way or shape or form. Because
Yeah.
the core, at least from what I'm seeing from these leaks, is the core story is that um, Kylo is going fully committed to being a baddie, really wants to control everything. Um,
Yeah.
that Rey is has to fight him, you know, and um, still believes in him, whatever, blah blah blah. They could have done some interesting stuff. I think that the Bendemption is still a really really powerful thing. I think the way they handled it worked well. Um,
Sure.
yeah, the setup for all of it and everything was rushed and the execution wasn't great, but I was cool with that, and I think I like the story of him coming back more than I do him never coming back, because what it kind of showed us all along in these movies is that like Ben is the most connected to him when he is embracing the light. You know, like dude, the second he was Ben Solo again, he's using the lightsaber in a form that I've never seen him do. He's not like
I
has
know, right?
you know, and like
Yeah.
he's really connected, and the fact that he can heal Rey from death. That's another thing I wanted to mention before that ties into this right now. Like
Yeah.
he was the most him when he was Ben. You know,
Yes.
like his power level, and that's like one of the things that Rey says to him in the interrogation scene in The Force Awakens. Like, you're afraid you'll never be as strong as Darth Vader, because yeah, he never
Yeah.
will be if he's embracing the dark, because he's not supposed to be. And
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
you
And
know,
that lends into that for sure.
yeah, and you know, I think playing off something with that and playing off something with Rey being pulled to the dark, like, dude, they could have had a story. Like, I know like a lot of people want to say that The Last Jedi wrote them into a corner, and I do agree with that to a certain extent because it seems like a conclusion of a trilogy. It doesn't feel like the middle of a film necessarily.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah.
at the same time, I'm like, dude, if this Trevorrow script's real, we could have had a lot of interesting ways to continue this story that we just didn't pursue for whatever weird reason, and now it's just a missed opportunity, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I totally agree. I think as as much as I have given Last Jedi flack, I kind of would have rather have seen um I guess I would have rather have seen Trevorrow's script where it like actually carried over Last Jedi ideas, right?
Yeah,
So that we at least would have had a through line, right? Because that's what we're missing is it's there's no through line.
right, exactly.
Um, I think that um God, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Um, I mean, yeah, I guess I kind of said it, but yeah, as much as I didn't really like that film, I'm more for a cohesive narrative than anything, right? Like,
Yeah,
because that's what sucks is like, you know, Rise of Skywalker was very much its own thing,
yeah.
and and tore down what Last Jedi was trying to do. Um, but like, I don't know. I'm talking in circles now. But everyone is so freaking stupid.
No, you're good. I I don't I think anything else to say about the film kind of would just be branching off of things we've already said
I
because,
agree.
you know, we can break down individual scenes and say what we have to say, and that's another thing too. Like, I'm realizing it now, looking back at this stream and then thinking about the last one too. Like, we've gone almost 3 hours to talk about one film, and like every scene I had an issue with, or at least in the last two
Yeah.
films, it's like, no, there were
Yep.
merits in each of those scenes. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep. I told you it was gonna be the big one for just the one film. I knew it.
I
I was
know,
like,
you're
I
right.
don't know if we could get to the next part. I think we're gonna be on Skywalker the whole time.
You're right. You're right. And I think I'm sure there's something else we can think of to say about it, but I guess at
Oh,
the
I could keep saying stuff, I'm sure.
yeah.
Like why wasn't R2D2 with the crew? Like where was R2D2 the whole movie? Like
Oh my God, I didn't even think of
R
that.
R R2 and 3PO are like the inseparable freaking like duo. Like why would you I love 3PO, but man, like why split them up? Like they're the best when they're together.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like I know earlier I was saying I'm a huge Chewie fan. I'm also a huge R2 fan,
Same.
and they've done R2 super dirty in this trilogy. He's been in none of the films. You know, they've done him super dirty, and he could have been on the adventure with 3PO and had like fun banter, just like the old days. But no, they opted not to for whatever the fucking reason.
Yeah, you're.
Instead, they
Yeah.
introduced a new goddamn sassy ass droid that they just have to meet the quota, whatever the fuck, Dio,
Yeah.
which I did like Dio for all intents and purposes,
Same.
but it's
Same.
like again introducing a new character when you very easily could have just had R2 there too, like an
Yeah.
established legacy character, and he would have played off super well with you know um 3PO because they're the duo. They're like the OGs, They're always together. The fuck were they thinking?
You're right. I didn't even realize that. But now when I think
Yeah,
back to
dog.
all these scenes with like 3PO and interacting with these so-called friends of his, I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, something feels empty. And that's what. Oh my God, how did I miss that? Yeah.
Yeah, dog. It's no good. It's bad. It's bad,
Wow.
bad, 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 bad.
No,
I'm
that's.
telling you.
I.
It's like I said, I could keep saying stuff all day, every day. Why weren't the Force Ghosts like physically there in the final battle? It would have been great to have seen like Liam Neeson, you know, Ewan McGregor, Sam Jackson. Like that would have been awesome. How great would that have been?
That would have been badass. Yeah.
How great would that have been? And how stupid is it that the first order fleet, or the last order fleet, excuse me, um,
Final order.
has, yeah, the final order, sorry. God damn it. Um, why is it that he built them on Exegol, but he only gave one of the ships a GPS antenna to be able to get out of Exegol?
Oh God.
Fuck
Okay.
off.
Two things.
Fuck off.
That's right.
Like I know that they destroyed the antenna and they're like, "Oh shit, they're using it from another ship still." But it's like, why don't all the ships have it?
Okay. Two
They all
things.
have planet destroying technology, but they don't have a fucking GPS?
Okay. Wait.
The fuck is that?
Two things to add to that I had to actually look into.
Oh
One,
god.
apparently, all of the apparently like the Sith Eternal supplied kids, and that's where like most of the crew are from those Star Destroyers. But also apparently, according to something, the internet was telling me that a lot of the ships are what's the word, like autonomous and like aren't manned by anyone in particular. They're like just controlled. So I'm like,
Uh,
okay, that explains why they all went down at the end, blah blah blah, and synchronicity, whatever. But another thing that drives me
oh
crazy
yeah.
is like, yeah, because
Uh-huh.
that was like a plot hole I couldn't figure out. But
Yeah, yeah.
like, another thing that drives me crazy is, like you said, if there's only one ship broadcasting the signal, how did all of these rebel starfighters just appear, like, with Lando, like without navigating the path that?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because Lando obviously they had to broadcast the way to get to Exegol. So why can't the Sith fleets do the same thing?
Yeah,
And
I.
another thing, the fuck were the Knights of Ren in the movie for?
Oh, I
They did
forgot about
fuck
that.
all, dude. They did fuck all.
They did nothing.
You know, super
Yeah,
high, worse than Phasma in my opinion. Way worse than Phasma.
yeah.
I think. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think they're even more shitty than Phasma,
No,
big time.
you're right. At least Phasma had lines and had some kind of arc with Finn in The Last
Yeah,
Jedi.
yeah, and she had like a fight scene,
Yeah.
whereas yeah, that was off. That's bad. Um,
Fuck.
yeah, man, I'm telling you, I could go all night. There's just thing after thing I could just keep saying.
It's so weird, like, to think about it, like, when you first see it, and, like, my mind was just, like, this Star Wars fan of me was satisfied. But when you take your veil out of off your head and like, look at it, it's like, even as a Star Wars fan, I shouldn't like it because it doesn't do justice by everything else that came before it.
Yep, exactly.
Ah, I know.
Exactly.
Oh, man, dude. Oh,
Man,
man.
it's a rough time. I gotta be honest. But like
Yeah.
I said, it's only a rough time because we're doing this anal cis analysis. Sorry, I stole that from Red Letter Media. The
Shout out.
Plunkett stuff. He always
Shout out
emails
to him.
stuff like that. Shout out. We wouldn't be here if not for Namaste. But
Uh,
no, I mean, but no, yeah, like I said, I mean it's only a bad time because we're like, doing this analysis on it, But
well, true, but
like it really is fun on its own, but yeah, as a when you start to ask questions and you know bring up the logic and how it ties into the lore, it really falls apart. I think
yeah.
it's rough.
Again,
Yeah,
there are things I really liked with it. I really did enjoy. They did everything the way I would have expected it to be. Again, from the perspective of a fan film. Like
sure.
if you view this as a fan film, I'm all aboard. But outside of it being a fan film, it doesn't work for me. But
Yeah.
that being said, they nailed what they were trying to do, in my opinion. Like
Mm,
Palpatine was kind of badass. Yes, he died, and his fight scenes were shitty. Yes, Kylo had a shitty fight scene with him too. But like everything else they were trying to do, I thought they did at least well enough to be passable. But
yeah.
it just doesn't work for me overall. That's the whole thing. And
Yeah.
you know, again, another thing is too. I just want to touch on. I I understand why Rey's lightsaber is what it is, like how it's like part of her staff or whatever, but it's really not cool looking to me. It looks fucking stupid.
Oh, really? I kind of like it. I was like, why
Yeah.
didn't she have that the whole movie? That was like what I was saying earlier about why repair Anakin's saber and just make her be cool and make like a new saber all of her own. Like that would, you know
I
what I mean?
I agree. It just
So I like to say I mean I get it, I do, but I personally, me Ben Cortez, I did like the new saber. I did. I was into it.
I just thought the hilt was so stupid looking. I was like, that doesn't look like a lightsaber. It looks like a weird flashlight thing. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It bothered me. It looked huge. It looked ginormous. She was like holding it up, and I'm like, that doesn't look
Well,
like a hilt.
I figured it was a double blade. I mean, if she made it out of her staff, I figured it was kind of like it had to be big and chunky because it was kind of we didn't see the other part of it, but I'm assuming it's a double blade
I think that's what I thought for a long time, and then
because her staff is chunky. Like it's kind of a thick
yeah.
one.
But someone pointed it out in like the one scene where you see her like kneeling down and she ignites it. You can kind of see the bottom of her hilt, and it's like relatively normal size. It's not like double bladed size.
Mm-hmm.
But
Interesting.
I,
Okay, maybe not then.
I don't know. It would make more sense for her to have double bladed, but
Yeah, it's all right.
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh well.
Oh, well, that's another thing too. I know my friend Eric wanted to talk about like theories for if they continue it into episode 10 to 12. It's like, you know,
Ooh.
we can have her with her lightsaber. What will it be like? We can have someone discover the Skywalker lightsabers on Tatooine. Like there's opportunities
Mm,
to talk about things, but I don't. That's for next time. But I just
sure.
I'm fearful with continuing anything from this.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm with you. I think they need to just do completely different stuff.
Yes.
Completely different.
Yes.
Old Republic, far future, whatever. Like something way different. Like I don't know, man.
And
I don't know.
and again, they never really marketed it as, the Skywalker saga, the end of the Skywalker saga, blah 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 blah. But I can't find any justification in my mind for how after episode 9 this is the Skywalker saga and not the Palpatine saga.
Yeah, I agree. I'm totally with you.
And that drives me absolutely insane.
I agree. Just call it the Palpatine saga for sure. That's what it should be called.
Yeah.
Um, because yeah, these Disney movies don't have anything to do with Skywalker really. Um, like I said earlier, I don't get why she took the Skywalker name and not Solo or Ghana or something, or just keep her name Rey. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. They gotta. I'm not gonna get back into it. I'm gonna be talking in circles at this point,
No, you're right though. I'm there
but
with you.
yeah, man, I think I'm at the end of my rope here, dude. I
Yeah.
think we'll have to next time I'm gonna be very stoked to talk about what we would have done, what could have been kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, next time we'll do what could have been, and then
Yeah.
we'll talk about, I guess like three different scenarios of branching off of that conversation, and then we'll go from there, and then we can do more stuff.
Yeah, dude. There's a whole slew of Star Wars we can talk about for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Um, well, I'll.
Hell, each one of those scenarios might be its own 3 hour video.
Well, another thing is I wanted to pull up too. Like I found some concept art from
Ooh.
from the movies and stuff. So like we can talk about that next time too, and look at it because
Oh, hell yeah.
there's some really really interesting stuff for episode 9 in here that I want to go over. And I think it's coming from the visual dictionary. I could be wrong. I have to reread the top part here, but um, if that's the case, that's some pretty cool stuff. Like I want to dive into.
Oh yeah, man. 100%.
But yeah, I'll end the stream here in a second. If there's anything else you want to say to anybody,
Nah, man. I think that's it. I
yeah.
think that's it. Kathleen, I'm disappointed in you. JJ, I'm disappointed in you. Ryan, I'm disappointed in you too. You guys make me sad. You really do. And if I ever got the chance to like meet one of y'all in person, I would just shake my head and walk away. I would. I'd be like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't care to meet you.
I
I'm
can't.
ashamed.
I can't. I, I mean, I'm there with you, I
Right?
think.
Like what would you say to them? Like I would love to meet George and like the actors. And I would love to meet like Adam and Daisy and them, but like I have noticed I don't want to meet the makers. I just don't. Like if I ever came across them, I'd just be like, I don't want to talk to you.
I
I
think.
don't.
I think at
I
this
have nothing
point,
to say to you.
yeah, George has completely detached from this.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Good for him. That's all I have to say.
Well,
Mandalorian's great.
yes, we have some good content. Fallen Orders, Jedi
Yes.
Fallen Order's good. Mandalorian's great,
Yes.
but
Obi-Wan's coming.
um, there was a rumor that it got canceled.
No. Wait, the Kenobi show?
Yeah, I didn't read it.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah,
There's no way.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't believe it. I think it's still hot.
I agree with you. I don't know anymore though, but we'll dive into this next time. I'll cut the stream here.
All right, dude.
Um,
All right.
let me
Peace, y'all.